You just don't put them in this square, baby. What's that? You just don't put them in this square. Yes, ma'am. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach today. Pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And there they was testified me. And you won't come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, all praises be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let Yahuwah be esteemed, for he is worthy of honor. Let's get this. Shalom, man. Let's go ahead and get the Exodus 34, man. I think what we had, man, we still have some stuff in 2 Samuel, right? Because we talking about a little peace offerings, a little shalom. That's what we own. Who that is? That's Kira in there. That's Kira. I see you, Kira. Kira been training hard. She been shedding. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Exodus chapter 34, verse 27. Also, before we get into some of that free will offering, peace offering, and stuff like that, we do need to engage some of the things that's here in Exodus 34 that we haven't engaged. Exodus 34 and 27. Yahuwah said unto Moses, write you these words, for after the tenor of these words have I made a covenant with you and with Yasharal. He was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights, and he did neither eat bread. 26. Who can tell me what that key component in verse 26 is? See, Michael, you over here, not my internet acting up. What is this key component that you can see in this verse 26 that should not be overlooked? You're going to see here a little big boot. They say there's stuff in here. Drive the women wild. It's scientifically proven. No, verse 27. It's got pheromones in it.
You said 26.
Well, it's 27. I ain't read 26, so why you wear that?
I don't know. Why you wear that? See?
It's got musk or hedione in there that brings forth pheromones. That's why that's why you had a type. You were smelling them pheromones. You kept going over that. Mm-hmm. That's what you were doing. What's in verse 27 that you can see? No, sir. You left something out.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention. There it is. Civic got it. He made a covenant with Moses and Yasharal. Y'all didn't catch that? He made it with both of them. Why is that important? Why is it important that he stated that he made a covenant with Moses and with the people?
Is this point towards something?
I don't know. You telling me you asking me?
I'm asking.
This ain't the time for asking. I need some telling. I need somebody to tell me like it's Drew Hill. That was your song, wasn't it? That's why you laugh like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You used to be in the room doing that dance he used to do?
With the hops.
Yeah, you was in there. And you ain't do it on stage. You did it in the room. Tell me, Shalom, what you want? You did all that there. This is why it's important. Come over here to Isaiah 59 and 20. Shoot, you can make it 16. To an extent, but it's more so of you have to know if he made a covenant with Yahushua, why did he make the covenant with Yahushua? Then you can understand why is he making a covenant with Moses. You're already seeing that because Moses is a part of Yasharal, so you have to pay attention to why is he isolating him. Because you have to remember he made a covenant with Yahushua. The covenant he made with Yahushua is different than the covenant he made with Yasharal. What is contained in the covenant to Yahushua? Well, you're going to see a part of it. And you should have remembered from Psalms chapter 2 what the rest of it is. But we'll see. Isaiah 59:16, and he saw no man and wondered that no intercessor. Therefore his arm brought salvation unto him and his righteousness sustained him. That goes back to what we were talking about the other day in that Ecclesiastes chapter 7. He searched up and down 10,000 men and only found one. And he said out of a woman, he didn't find none. You know what I'm talking about? See, this is something that a lot of people don't want to deal with. Ain't that, see, this is where the game get twisted, right? You'll have a woman like Anna. Who knows who Anna is? Matter of fact, let me say this here. Shalom, Brother Ellis. Who doesn't know who Anna is? That's unfortunate for you, because you know who Anna is. Maybe for you. Lee, you know who Anna is? That's unfortunate for you also. Big Boo, you know who Anna is?
She's an ex, right?
All y'all get out.
Oh, man.
Everybody get out.
No,
No, you can get out too. Everybody get out.
Anna, it's like on the top of my head.
I spent time on this maybe about 3 years ago. Maybe somebody better tell me who Anna is. There it is. Brother Reynolds knows. But don't none of y'all know. I can't say nothing now because the people in the chat can see it. Now, don't go look in the chat now, nigga.
I just said what my phone said.
Come over here to Acts chapter 2. Don't nobody know who Anna is. I meant to say Luke 2, not Acts. Yeah, that's what you get. You thought you was excited.
No, I'm just gonna say I said it.
You was excited. Luke chapter 2, verse 26. See, for you women who are around, Michael, so you get a pass to an extent. Oh, you think about a different woman. I'll let that go, Mother Sharona, because she definitely did. That wasn't who I was talking about. I can't even dispute that because Anna definitely was Samuel's mother. I can't even say nothing because that is factual. Her name was Hannah. But Hannah and Anna is going to be a derivative of the same, just like Joanne and Joanna. And Mary and Miriam. So I'll allow it. I mean, shoot, Joanne is Joanna. Are you disputing?
No, I'm waiting for you to read.
Are you waiting?
Yes, I'm right here.
Yeah, we can fight. I fight all you niggas.
Fight, we can fight. What's up?
This ain't optional.
What you mean this ain't optional? What?
Luke 2:26. And it was revealed unto him by the Ruach HaKodesh. Well, maybe 25, so you can know who this is. Behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, the same man, righteous and devout, waiting for the consolation of Yasharal, and the Ruach HaKodesh was upon him. It was revealed unto him by the Ruach HaKodesh that he should not see death before he seen Yahuwah's anointed one. See, the reason why I say this here, you ladies should remember, we spent a whole bit of time going over every righteous woman in this book. So did. We spent a lot of time on that. And he came by the Ruach into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child, Yahusha, to do for him after the custom of the law, then he took him up in his arms and Baruch Elohim and said, Yahuwah, now let your servant depart in shalom according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the esteem of your people, Yasharal. Joseph and his mother marveled at those things which were spoken of him. Simeon baruched them and said unto Mary his mother, Behold, this is set for the fall and rising again of many in Yasharal, and for a sign which you spoke be spoken against. See, that's something that a lot of people don't realize in regards to that, and you would have been right. In regards to Yahusha, that he is going to be for the rising and falling of many. Many will be risen up to a state to rule with him, and many will fall into the pit where the worm dies not, and the fire shall not be quenched, and they shall be tormented forever and ever, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Nevertheless, yea, a sword shall pierce through your own soul, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. See, you don't even realize that what Moses did, he did the same thing. That when he brought forth the words of that covenant, no, that's not her. When he brought forth the words of that covenant, that pierced through the hearts of the people, and it manifested the thoughts of many. Just like what that Hebrews 4 and 12 say. We need to get them lights up, I can tell you that. Let's continue. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age. Oh, yeah, you're right. And she lived with a husband 10 years from her virginity. She was a widow about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served with fasting and prayers night and day. See, that's something right there that a lot of women wouldn't be able to do. See, this is what Brother Shaul was talking about the other day. This is what's in Matthew 19. It's not necessarily referring to women because that's a little different. But some men are going to be celibate and some men are not. And that's not for everybody. Now, see, there's also a thing. A dude, you would have to look at occupation-wise. A dude couldn't be a pastor or a teacher of the word and not have a wife. He couldn't hold those two occupations. Now, he could be an evangelist. He could be an apostle. But he couldn't be a minister, which is a word for deacon, which will actually be there. And he couldn't be a pastor. Prophet, it doesn't matter. You don't need a wife to be a prophet, obviously. You know what I'm saying? For a woman, there's no job for her other than being a prophetess, of which, of course, you don't need to be married. I seen a brother, they were going back and forth about this here, right? And he told these brothers something and they were stumped. He said, you know the one thing about Deborah that none of these Hebrews like to talk about? Because, they love to scream that she was a prophetess. But do you know the first thing that it made mentions about Deborah? Do you know, Lee? Huh? So what? I can't understand. Oh, what is the main thing that was pressed when Deborah is first mentioned? There's something that is mentioned that most people don't like to zero in and focus on. Do you know what that is? What about you, Michael? Mommy, where's Michael? What about you, Boo? That she was a wife. And that matter of fact that it made mention of who her husband was by name. Let's take a look for those who don't know. Judges chapter 4. And I mentioned that because it did the same thing as prophetess. It made sure to let you know that she had a husband. And that's not to say that a prophetess has to have a husband, because Miriam was a prophetess, and it doesn't reference if she had a husband or not. So if anybody was to say that she had a husband, they would definitely be talking out of their butthole. Judges chapter 4, verse 1. Yeah, my bad. Hey, you was on that one, man. I don't know where my mind went at. The sons of Yasharal again did even the side of Yahuwah when Ehud was dead. Yahuwah sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of the host, Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. The sons of Yasharal cried unto Yahuwah, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the sons of Yasharal. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Yasharal at that time. Now let me ask y'all this question. Why is it important that they mentioned her husband by name? You can come back to Luke chapter 2, by the way. Then we'll swing back to Isaiah 59. Does anybody know why they mentioned her husband by name? Don't overthink it. No, that head covering thing ain't really got nothing to do with a husband. You know what I'm saying? That's a common misnomer that people say, just like I heard a brother say, like it say in the Bible, God over man, man over woman, woman over children. It don't say that. Nowhere in this book does it say the women are over the children. Doesn't say that once. If any of you ever read it, because it ain't there. She was known by her husband and not her father, but why is she known by her husband? Well, I'll tell you why. The woman is called by her husband's name. What is the name of this people? Yasharal. Whose name are you called by? By your husband. For everything in heaven and earth shall be named after the Mashiach. See, that's how that goes. She would never be a singular, regardless of her being a prophetess, she would never be above or separate from her husband. See, a lot of people now in this day and time, if a woman was doing something in the ministry, whether it was word-based or not, meaning like this here, right? It's a congregation. They invite us to come through, but we'll never go because they have women who preach. And the minute that woman stand up and go to dropping word, I'm walking out. And if you stay in there with them, you don't need to come back with me wherever I'm going. Because, see, I done did this before. But, see, we didn't know the women were going to preach. We was at a spot off of 13th, you know what I'm saying, on Myrtle Ave. You know what I'm talking about? Me, Nell, and Fat Boy. Some of y'all know the story. We done did this before. They was Sabbath keeping people. They still keep a Sabbath over there to this day, as far as I know. You know what I'm saying? Because my man Bruce stayed right by it. The church is in front of his building or behind it, depending on how you want to view it. We went in there, you know what I'm saying? They were singing forever. You know what I'm talking about? And when they went to teaching, it was funny too, because we wasn't all sitting together, and we all in unison got up at the same time and walked out as soon as them women opened up that book and went to dropping word. And the lady said, I know, baby, I know. I'm one of them too. I say, man, no disrespect, but I'll listen to dogs piss before I listen to a woman spit some word. That ain't a God. That ain't book. It ain't nothing personal. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm not finna sit here and do that because I'm not finna condone your sin. So I'm gonna just go ahead and leave here. Because the reason why I do that there, because I'm not finna sit here with you and watch you smoke no crack, smoke no weed, or do anything else ungodly. I'm gonna get up and leave. I'm gonna leave you to your own devices. You know what I'm talking about? We got up and left. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna sit here and do that. And it is better to know that if I was going to do that, then why would I go out there if I already know that that's what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Because that's just that way we just cut down the strife. We ain't got to offend nobody. Because see, it's gonna be a problem after that, and then I'm gonna say some things that you're not gonna like. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of brood, man. They let them women get off. When we don't live like that over here, man. Ain't no first ladies, ain't no morals, I don't know where nigga get to about this the first lady. The first lady of what? How is the pastor's wife the first lady? What is she the first lady of? Where you even get that from? I guarantee you, if we did just a scant amount of investigation on where the term first lady come from, I guarantee you we probably be able to find that in some Diana worship, some Isis worship. There's no such thing as a first lady of an assembly or congregation. That ain't no book. You made that up. You know what I'm talking about? You ever read something like that before? The pastor and the first lady. All that's doing is trying to take that woman and elevate her to a status that Yahuwah has not ordained. We ain't finna do that. That's just the pastor's wife. And it's just that simple. It's not no any deeper than that. Why try to elevate yourself? But let's come over here to Luke 2. Then I'll read you that 1 Corinthians 11 again, just so you can know what's actually there. I'll read verse 36 again. And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. Do you notice how they did that there? They mentioned she was a prophetess. Why did they mention her father instead of her husband? Because her husband is passed. And you know what happens when your husband passed? 9 times out of 10, in that culture that those people lived in, that woman reverted back to dwelling with her father. She wouldn't do like they do now and dwell on her own. She wouldn't do that. She would revert back and dwell with her father. And then it mentions and live with her husband 7 years from her virginity. And she, a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served with fasting and prayer night and day. So this, and she was going to serve Yahuwah for the remainder of her days. You don't see, you know how people like to say, Jesus, my husband. See, she lying. Because if that was your husband, you dwell in his house and you would serve him for the entirety of your days. See, that's what that, if you go open your mouth and say, Jesus is my husband, that's how you would prove it. So you just can't say Jesus is your husband because don't nobody want you. Because a lot of women who say that, they say that because don't nobody want them. And it's a multitude of reasons why don't nobody want them. It don't have to be their physical appearance. It could be their attitude. You know what I'm talking about? It could be all manner of things. It could be what we were just discussing that Jason Black was just talking about. Stuff that I just assumed that people would have known. See, it's funny to me in 2022 when I hear these dudes speak about stuff on these videos and live streams that they be doing, and I be like, I thought you niggas should have known this. How did you niggas live so long and not learn these things? You know what I'm saying? How did you not learn that women have types? Like how do you learn that? Why are you offended by that? That goes back to the situation like the dude who said he was a nuclear physicist. She wasn't his type. And that's it. You could tell when she seen him, she didn't like him. But see, these nerds feel like you should like me because of my job. So you know what that tells me? You're an emotionally weak man who she can manipulate. I've always seen that since I was young. Women will pick a man who she knows she can manipulate. I noticed at an early age that if a woman likes you, she's going to try you to see if you're a man or not and see how you respond. And your response will dictate how she responds to you. She only does that if she likes you. A woman does not test a man in that fashion if she doesn't like him. You know what I'm talking about? Why do I care if you're a man or not if I don't even want you calling my phone? If I don't even want to be in your face? You know what I'm saying? But see, that's another conversation. That is another conversation. And it makes people uncomfortable because then we have to deal with aspects of human behavior that we don't like to discuss. See, it's the same thing. The word do the same thing. The word tests aspects of human behavior that we don't like to discuss. There's a lot of things that we discuss here on a regular basis that people do not like to discuss because it makes them uncomfortable. But the only way you're going to be better is you're going to have to be made uncomfortable. And that's just how that goes. Verse 38, and she was coming in that instant, gave thanks likewise unto Yahuwah, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. Now, see, this is the difference, right? She just spoke of there's redemption for us. And guess what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's not administering word. That's not instructing people. There's no shame in any of you ladies saying, hey, man, there's redemption for us. You know what I'm saying? I can speak about that this man has the redemptive work that he has done and the power which he manifests. Ain't nothing wrong with that. The only thing that becomes a problem when you start teetering into the realm of instruction. And where you going? Where you going? What? What you say? Oh, very well. Well, why you stop looking? I just asked you where you were going. It seemed like you're about to do something unorthodox with that type of behavior. That's how you get stopped for stealing if you go to a store. They go to thinking you're stealing. You ain't even got nothing. Just because I asked you a question don't mean you done something wrong. You need to check yourself. Something wrong with you, baby. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. That junk be kidding me. She be doing that junk like she get beat. No, nobody do nothing to this nigga. The only thing she done had done to us, that nigga has been DTV. You know what that mean, Michael?
You said DTV.
DTV. That mean that damn TV ain't coming on. No TV, no tablet, no nothing. You know why? Because she like to ride on those. Yeah, did it to herself. Look at now she looking stupid. Yeah, trying to sneak a TV watch.
And she told me she came in there one day. I said, you're not supposed to be watching TV. She told me you're watching the news, so let her come.
I need to do that jump with her mama. Think she's slick with some coloring books. I just want to spend time with my mom while the TV on. I know what you're doing. She did that junk the other day. One of them children had a tablet. She tried to slide over. Yeah, I don't care who came over here with what. They ain't got nothing to do with you.
Did you explain why they don't like when they say why the person is white?
Say that again.
Did you explain why they don't like when they say the person is white?
Oh, because you talking about like modern people now? Oh, most of them are not going to mention that she had a wife. Hold on. Monte say from what he read, the first lady originated with the wife of the U.S. president, and that was just extended to churches. But that's only one source that he found. We appreciate you, good sir. Most of them don't like to do that because they want to make the woman separate from her husband, an entity of greatness and elevation that cannot be attributed to him. So therefore, she over here and I'm above my husband. To give a good modern example, I don't necessarily say that this woman does that because I don't know who this woman is and her background, but take T.D. Jakes' daughter. They don't talk about her husband. They make her seem to be separate from her husband. You know what I'm talking about? She preached, she write all these books, but word-wise, if it would have been a memorial contained in the text, they would have mentioned her husband. You know what I'm saying? It would have led with that. No matter what she would have been doing or had accomplished, she still would have been under the authority of her husband, and she would have been called by her husband's name. But you know that because, like I say, T.D. Jakes' daughter's name is hyphenated. And that hyphenation is to make that I'm separate from my husband. You know what I'm saying? My husband does not possess me. My husband doesn't have authority over me. That's why I'm whatever her name is, Jakes, whatever her name is. Because I don't know her name. She Jake the Snake Roberts. I had his wrestling man. Jake the Snake Roberts smoked crack. He did. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing that her name is Jake Roberts. That's literally a man's name. He's literally a professional wrestler, old as dirt, and he literally did smoke crack, ruined his career. He was great. Matter of fact, he was the wrestler who Stone Cold was talking to when he came up with the blasphemous line, Austin 3:16. Because he was mocking him because he was a born-again Christian. That's how he got off of crack. That's amazing. There's a couple wrestlers. They said they stopped smoking crack because they became born-again Christians. Hey, you ever wrestled before? Yeah, you didn't wrestle before. That's why you're not a virgin. Yeah, you didn't see that coming. See, she said, if you see interviews, they say they do this together, meaning the ministry, which is blasphemous in and of itself, because a man can't do ministry with his wife, not ministering the word. See, they like to use what his name is, Aquila and his wife for that. You know what I'm talking about? They like to go to Acts and use that for that. But that's another conversation. Let's not delve off into that fire. A lot of them do. Let me tell you something, man. If I needed my wife to preach some word, I ain't fit to preach no word. You know what I'm talking about? I've been told you that. I don't need no woman's help. Not for that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't need no woman's help. If I needed a woman's help to preach the word, I wouldn't be of God at that point. My old lady know the precept to get that. Come on, man. 1 Corinthians 11:1. Be you followers of me, even as I also of Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances that I delivered to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach. The head of the woman is the man. And the head of Mashiach is Elohim. And that's where it stops. You see, the man is the head of the children. The woman's not over the children. That's something that dudes made up to be able to abdicate their responsibility over the kids under the fact that she be at home with the kids and I be at work. But that's also because they are conflating modern times with how these people lived at that time. And we know that those people didn't live that way. Those people did not send their kids to school. There was no school. We've had that conversation. Organized public school is a new thing in the earth. If my memory serves me correctly, it's not even 250 years old. You know what I'm talking about? So those people at that time, that's not what happened. Those kids grew up The daughters labored with the mother in whatever it was that vineyards and things of that nature that needed to be tended. And the sons walked in the vocation that their father was a part of. Do you remember what Saul's job was? Saul's job was to watch his father's livestock. That's why they came looking for Samuel, because the livestock went astray. What was David's job? He was a shepherd boy. That means that's what his daddy did. They kept sheep. You know what I'm talking about? Because I seen a brother say that today. What job did Hamashiach clock into? Whatever carpentry job he had going on. Peter was a fisherman. These men worked. They just didn't see. People think that the modern framework of how we work now is new. No, it's not. You had people who own businesses. They hired people. They worked there, and they paid them. You know, come on, like that's not in it. I don't know where people think that this system is new. This is not new. Everybody didn't work on a farm and do this here. So people had jobs. Why do you think the law tell you if a man doesn't work for you and you better pay him the bread that you owe him and don't hold that man money till the sun go down? That's why I tell you that. People had jobs. They called it a hired servant. You know what they call a hired servant today? An employee. See, but you wouldn't want to hear hired servant and make you feel like a slave. You know what I'm talking about? But that's all that is, man. It's not that deep. But see, we don't like to hear stuff like that. We want to think that everybody lives in a different type of way, and they did not. But what we had besides that? Back to Isaiah 59 and 20. Why do you say? Now, of course, there's a spiritual reason, but that's why the book mentioned that Yahushua was a carpenter. That's how he fed himself. You think this man ain't had no job? How is this man going to be able to tell you you're going to work from the sweat of your brow? And then Paul come on the back end and say, if a man don't work, he don't eat. And then the Lord himself ain't had no job. That don't even make sense, man. Y'all know Paul and Peter had a job. You know what Paul did for a living, Lee? You know what Paul did for a living, Michael? Boo, you know what Paul did for a living? This nigga say, didn't he work? Didn't he work? I know that nigga clocked in. Who could tell me what Paul did for a living? Stanley know that man was a tent maker. I remember, man, what his name? My man name is, man. Ed, man. Ed said, I said we were working. You know what I'm saying? Ed said, hey, man, it's all good. You got to appreciate Paul was a tent maker. You say that all the time. Those men had jobs, man. Peter had a job. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know why these people think these men ain't had no job. You let these Hebrews tell it, these boys just ain't had no job. These men had jobs. Like they went to work. Now, whether Paul was a tent maker for himself or for another man, the text don't elucidate on that. But they had a job. You know what I'm talking about? And it mentioned a job. Why you think Paul can come back around and say, hey, man, I labored with my own hands for the things that I had, and I ain't got to ask you for nothing. Samuel had a job. All these men had jobs. Dudes want to act like every servant of Yahuwah just sat around doing nothing and Yahuwah just ministered to their needs. These men work. You know what I'm saying? But that just comes down to that these people like to make merchandise of you and these niggas lazy. In this day and time, these niggas lazy. These niggas don't want to go to work. They don't want to scream, see, now they ain't got to work. I got more time for Yahuwah. I bet you do, you lazy bastard. You know you can work and still have time to do the word. Yahuwah make sure of that. That's nothing. Because these dudes act like getting on the internet is doing the work. Well, you ain't out here. Boy, Paul, Yahusha, Peter, all the apostles were going to work and were in the street with it. In people's cities. You know what I'm talking about? I told you I seen a dude say, man, they ain't did that. Man, they had synagogues and all back then, man. These men went up in these spots and dropped words. See, you can't do that now. See, I couldn't walk in somebody's synagogue and just open up the book and start teaching. I couldn't do that. That's going to cause a problem. Not because it's me, because most people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say to somebody, if they say, yeah, I teach the word and such, man, I got a word to deliver. I ain't going to tell you can't drop it. Now, if I know you don't teach no word, then nah, man, shoot, right? I might still let you say what you got to say. You know what I'm talking about? But if I know you teach the word, why would I tell you you can't say nothing? That's not how these people operated. I'm just telling you how these people operated. When that synagogue was open and you was an administrator of the word, nobody wasn't going to tell you you couldn't say nothing. That's not how that works. See, now everybody believes they're an administrator of the word because they're a Hebrew. And that doesn't make you an administrator of the word because you were born of the seed of Shem or you come from the seed of Isaac and Yasharal. That doesn't make you a minister of the word. It doesn't make you a teacher. That's not how that works. Isaiah 59. We're in verse 17. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate and the helmet of salvation upon his head, and he put on the garments of vengeance, clothing, and was clad with the zeal as a cloak. According to deeds, according he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense. When he say he paying back to the islands, no, he talking about Gentiles. So they shall fear the name of Yahuwah from the west, and his esteem from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Ruach of Yahuwah shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion unto them that turn from transgression, and Jacob saith Yahuwah, as for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah, my Ruach that is upon you, and my words which I've put in your mouth shall not depart out of your mouth, nor to the mouth of your seed, nor to the mouth of your seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. Now, it's the same thing you see with Moses. The covenant with Moses and the covenant with Yasharal differ, but it's the same. And you know why it differs and it's the same? Because they get a different reward. Yahushua got a different reward, but he made a covenant with Yahushua. He said, today, this day, you are my son, I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give the heathen for your inheritance. And you'll rule over them with a rod of iron. Because you know Moses was the first king of Yasharal. Y'all know that, right? 3. So he got it's a different covenant with him. It was a different thing that was made for him. It was different things, a reward that he was given that the people weren't given. Because what is a covenant? It's an alliance and it's an agreement. And it was an alliance that he set him to be head over the people to lead them out of bondage. He got something different than that what they got as far as authority is concerned. But let's return back to Exodus 34. And then we'll go back to 2 Samuel and pick up where we was at with that. We're just going to scan some things. We're not going to make it too long and drawn out. I want you to look at verse 1. I got to make sure you understand everything that you see in Exodus 34. Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew 2 tables of stone like unto the first. I will write upon tables the words that were in the first tables which you break. Now, y'all should know that because that take you back to, I will make a new covenant with you, but not like the covenant that I made with your forefathers. Now notice, because you know it's a renewed, you got people who like to argue that it's the renewed covenant, not the new covenant. You know what I'm saying? And that's neither here nor there. What you see in Exodus 34 is the renewed covenant because it is the same words upon the same table that you broke. Because see, man broke it. See, there's a reason why you see Moses throwing it down because man broke it. Elohim didn't break it. That's why Elohim doesn't throw it down. But then he remakes it because Elohim redoes the covenant. And then he gives it to Moses. That's why he said, I'll make this covenant with you and with Yasharal. Let's continue. Be ready in the morning and come up in the morning unto the Mount Sinai and present yourself there to me and to the top of the mount. No man shall come up with you. Neither let any man be seen throughout the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. Moses rose up early in the morning, went up to Mount Sinai as Yahuwah commanded him, and he took in his hand the 2 tables of the stone. And then Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. See, that's what ends up happening when you get the Ruach HaKadosh. Now the name of Yahuwah is proclaimed. And what is proclaimed? Yahuwah passed by before him and proclaimed Yahuwah Elohim. Merciful, gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and in truth. See, that takes us back to if the ministration of stones was esteemed, how much more the ministration of life by the Ruach? Because see, that's what the Ruach give. The doggone 2 tables of stone can't give you that. The law can't give you mercy and grace. You know what that should remind you of? John chapter 1. What did he tell you about Moses? The law came by Moses. You know what I'm talking about? Mercy and truth came by Yahushua. Grace and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach, which is just mercy. That's what you're actually seeing extended, and why you see Yahuwah declaring his name in this fashion in Exodus 34, because he's showing you that the new covenant is covered and declared in mercy. See, was the first covenant declared in mercy? You tell me. What y'all say in the chat? What you say here on Clubhouse? What you say in the house? Was the first covenant, the covenant made when Moses went upon the mount in Exodus chapter 20, was it declared in mercy? Yes or no, it's sufficient. Cinnamon and vanilla, bergamot and orange. You ain't got to look crazy because you don't know about it.
No.
You say no? It's just a little musk ravageur. You don't know nothing about it. You say no? Bella and Drew say no. You don't know nothing about that. You gonna say no? That's because you don't know. That's why you gonna say no. Kira says no. Well, guess what? For everybody that says no, you're going to have to support your answer. Lil Johnny says yes, so you're going to have to support your answer. Of course. What else you going to support it with?
I mean, of course, I was saying as far as, we stand the answer, to be honest.
Kalisha says yes.
You said, was it made in mercy?
Was it made in mercy? Mother Sharona says yes. Big Boot say no. So Bella, Drew, Kira, I'm gonna need y'all to support your no. Lil Johnny, Kalisha, and Mother Sharona, I'm gonna need y'all to support your yes. Book only, please. Was the first covenant made in mercy? Yes or no? I know who ain't finna get no mercy. Muffin.
That scripture will tell you, with the grace, we get grace because the law was with death. But now you got mercy and grace. We got shot.
We talking about the first covenant, not the second. Stanley says, according to Hebrews 10 and 28, it was not made in mercy. That's Lil Stanley answer. Lil Johnny say delivery from Egypt was mercy, but I said the first covenant, not no deliverance from Egypt. There wasn't no covenant given when you left out of Egypt. Bella says no, because when the children of Israel sinned, the Lord immediately wiped them out. Yes, Aaron interceded, but the Lord was swift in the judgment. Monte say yes, because the burden of Adam sinning, that there had to be a new covenant. No, I'm talking about strictly, Monte, I'm talking about strictly the covenant that he made on Mount Sinai. Was that covenant made in mercy? Yes or no? Well, the Sharona say he gave them an opportunity to repent. I ain't gonna lie to you. Stanley done cracked y'all head open. He done showed you dead. No, that first covenant was not made in mercy. Wasn't made in mercy at all. And we're going to read Hebrews 10. It wasn't made in mercy at all. Hey, boo, what you in there talking about? Hebrews chapter 10. I pick you up at verse 19. And we'll run it down. That's why I had to read through that so you could see. Because you have to sit back and realize something. Why is he making a new covenant, Lee? Why is he making 2 tables of stone? What happened? We read it Wednesday. What happened, Lee? What happened that he was going to have to make 2 tables of stone? What happened?
Hey, Dwayne.
Yes.
Can you use Romans 8?
What's in Romans 8? I mean, Romans 8 got a lot of verses in it.
Well, it say, for the law of the spirit is life. Made me free from the law of sin and death.
No, but when we talk about like this, because that's talking about dealing with Adam. We talking about strictly the covenant that Yahuwah made with Yasharal and Exodus chapter 20 on Mount Sinai. That's what we're dealing with specifically and strictly, just that. Do you know what happened and that caused him to have to make them 2 tables of stone? Do you recall? You don't. What happened, Michael?
They broke the covenant.
Well, how did they do that? That's obvious. That's right. And Darius just mentioned that if it was mercy, then them people wouldn't have been killed for breaking it. Do you recall the last verse we read in Exodus 32? He said, I will visit their sin when I visited. After Moses said that he would be willing to die for the people. And then he said he plagued them afterwards. Let me read it to you. Right here, Exodus 32 and 34. Therefore now go lead the people unto of which I've spoken unto you. Behold, my Malachim shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. And Yahuwah plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron made. That's after the 3,000 people got killed. And he after that. Do you not recall that the people fell and died during the time of Achan because he dealt in their accursed thing? But let's read this, Hebrews 10 and 19. Having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the Kadash by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way, which he have consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh, and a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with the true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let's hold fast to profession, faith without wavering. He is faithful that promise. Let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves, as is the manner of some, but exhorting, and so much more as you see the day approaching. That's why I see that it is utterly asinine. Yes, he was angry, and he was angry because of the sin of the people for worshiping the calf. That's why people say, oh, you can just assemble at your house with your family. Well, you telling somebody to commit sin because the man gave you the instruction in Leviticus 23 to have a what? A Kadash convocation or a set-apart gathering. Contrary to these Hebrew niggas' belief, how could the people sit at home and teach their family the word when the books say they got their understanding from who? From the Levites. That's who taught them the word. Say that's who Yahuwah commissioned to teach the word. That's literally what it says. That's literally what it says. You can read during the time of the king escapes my mind. I want to say it's Josiah. He sent out Levites into the cities of Judah, just like Yahushua sent his apostles out to go teach the people. They were all Levites. There's a passage in the King and Chronicles where it say the Levites sit and they wait upon their business. You read that in Nehemiah, it said he caused the people to understand the reading. It wasn't nothing but Levite priests up there. But see, this is the other thing that a lot of brews don't want to deal with. If you want to say you want to deal with a Levitical priesthood, then ain't nobody got no business teaching no word at this present time, and we all going to hell. Now, y'all tell me why that is the case. If you want to deal with a Levitical priesthood, then nobody can teach the word whatsoever. Who knows why they can't do it? See, this is why I be on y'all about paying attention to nuance and knowing this stuff, because this is why you supposed to know it. Not to rebuff an idiot individual, but to know and understand why things are the way that they are. Why he has the order of Melchizedek, which has apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers, versus the Levitical priesthood, which had a high priest who had to be after the seed of Aaron, and then Levites. So if we want to deal with a Levitical priesthood, you know that no one can teach the word. And do you know why no one can teach the word?
Does it have something to do with whether you should die and words to the apostles?
Yeah, there it is. You got to prove you a Levite. You got to prove you a Levite. Y'all don't remember that from the book of Ezra? When the men were saying they were Levites and they couldn't find their name in the genealogy, so they put them out the priesthood because they polluted the priesthood. So no one would be able to prove they're a Levite. Therefore, nobody could teach the word. See, these dudes don't know that though. And see, they play on the fact that you don't know that. Then when you hit them with that, they're going to be looking stupid. So if you want to deal with Levitical priesthood, you go over there and you stay going to hell because you can't prove you a Levite. Them the only people who could teach the word. Nobody else in the house of Yasharal or any other tribe could teach the word. That's what the law say. But these boys say they vanguards of the law. Ain't that what they say? Ain't that what they say they know the law? But how they don't know that? Let me show y'all that so y'all know what I'm talking about. Hold this Hebrews 10, because I don't want y'all to think I made that up. Come to the book of Ezra, if you would. Ezra 2, if I'm not mistaken. Could be in Nehemiah. Give me a moment. Yeah, see, they don't like that. See, that's where they get tight. See, I did tell you stuff so you know the word, so don't nobody make no fool out you. Now, you can do whatever you want to do. But I know ain't nobody going to come tell me anything, and I go for it and be like, this here, so you ain't no Levite. Yes, it does, Kira, and you are right. Your pure mind has been stirred up by May of remembrance, and praise be to Yahuwah that he brought it back to mind, because that's 100% correct. That is 100% correct. Give me a second, man. I hate when this happens. Kira just asked, for those who want to know, it's been years, but does the first covenant being carnal go back to the lesson about Moses' face shining to indicate carnal versus spiritual? And that is accurate. That is accurate because that is another part of the play. Ezra 2. I knew I was looking right at it. Ezra 2, verse 59. That does play a part in it. Even discussing that part of it, for his face shining, which is the eternal life, versus the other one. Moses got the same covenant from the same man, and yet his face didn't shine the first time, but it shined the second. You know what I'm talking about? Moses got the same covenant from the same man, yet Yahuwah did not proclaim that he was merciful and gracious and forgive sin and iniquity the first time, did it? He didn't do that. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to pay attention to the nuance to peep the play so that you could actually see what was going to be set forth later. And that's why he had him redo it to show you what was going to come later. Look at this Ezra chapter 2. You can read it at verse 55. The children of Solomon's servants, the children of Sotai, the children of Sophareth, the children of Peruda, the children of Baal, the children of Darkon, the children of Gedal, the children of Sheptiah, the children of Hetil, the children of Pokereth, of Zebium, the children of Ammi, all the Nethiums, the children of Solomon's servants, were 392. These they which went up from Telamah to Harasa, Cherub, Adon, Imar, and they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Yasharal. The children of Delai, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nokata, 652. And the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Koz, the children of Bezalel, which took a wife of the daughters of Bezalel the Gildite, and was called after their name. These sought their register, those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted from the priesthood. And the Tishatha said unto them that they could not eat of the most Kadash things till there stood up a priest with Urim and Thummim. They couldn't do it. Guess what? Ain't nobody standing up with no Urim and Thummim right now. See, these are things that a lot of dudes want to do. See, they want to hold you to stuff that can't be held to. You know what I'm talking about? And screaming, oh, we got to keep the law. You can keep the law and go to hell with it because ain't no mercy with this law. I'm telling you that right now. Ain't nan tap of mercy with it. No, they're not supposed to be ministering to women. It's not a job for a woman to teach the word to anyone. That is another thing that is greatly misconstrued, that they say women can teach the word just to other women and use Titus 2 out of context when Titus 2 is talking about older women teaching women to be women, which is what most young women don't have, because most of these older women ain't teaching no woman to be no woman. They teach them to make the same mistakes that her funky behind made. You know what I'm talking about? Which is one of the points that he mentioned, that about why women pick the wrong man 80% of the time. Because y'all get bad information from older women. You get bad information from older women because they're miserable and they don't want you to be happy. You know what I'm saying? If you meet a lot of older women and they had a lot of negative experiences with men, that's all they got to tell you. You ain't never noticed that women always come and try to sabotage you if you seem like you happy with your man. Oh, you know he probably doing this or this, that. They always got something to say. Because they not happy. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be the lonely little minstrel like they are. Hating men so they can have somebody to spend the rest of their days with. Are you sorry? Yes, you are. I got something for both of you niggas. Boop. Boop ain't never got to go. Ain't that right, Boop? Boop ain't got to go. Ain't that right, Boop? No, Boop can stay. Boop can stay till I find her somewhere to live. Somebody that's going to be able to take that financial burden. Ain't that right, Boop? Well, she stay here for the rest of the days, looking like Boop. But her mama and you, y'all can go. Oh, I believe they're making a lot of money from conferences because women are gullible. Women are love to pay for a power brunch, a sister power hour. Y'all easily do. Them women don't tell you nothing when you go to them conferences and brunches. They just hustle you. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can feel the camaraderie. We're strong women, yeah. You done got God. But yeah, no woman got no business teaching no word to nobody, not to her children, not to other women. That's a man's job. See, prophesying is different because you saying thus saith Yahuwah to a matter that hasn't came to pass yet. And it's sad that in 2022, people still don't know the difference between prophesying and teaching because they're two different things. I never tell you that a woman can't prophesy because that ain't book. We know that. Miriam prophesied. Deborah prophesied. You know what I'm talking about? You got the lady who they say, see, the women talk because she prophesied in the college. That's what a dude told me on Debate Talk for You one time. No, I can't remember the prophetess name, but it was during the time they found the book of the law, and when they read it, they seen that Yahuwah was going to kill them all and kick them out the land. So they went to seek the word of Yahuwah, and they went to seek a prophetess who dwelt in the college. But college in Hebrew means suburbs. So when they read it in English, they took it as she dwelt at a college and she was teaching people. Therefore, women can teach the word. And that's why I tell you, y'all better be careful who you listen to because some of these niggas stupid. The power brunches motivate you to do what you already know you needed to do, basically. That's what Nisha say. You know what the power brunches motivate you to do? To be a man and not have a husband. That's what they really do, because it's going to get you to the point where you be so motivated and you do all this stuff and then you become all these things and then you talk about, where do all the men go? Because don't nobody want you. Because you're arrogant, you're proud, you done became a man. No, you have to, it takes a lot to be successful, and to be successful for a woman, you have to become a man. Meaning you have to take on a man's mindset because you're competing with men. So there's no way that you're not going to take on the attributes of a man in order to defeat men. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of women be like, oh, if I had a chance to be a housewife, I would do it in a heartbeat, because you don't want to continually compete with men for 30 and 40 years. You know what I'm talking about? Nisha say so true, because the women do be real single. And Civic says one of the definitions of teach is to instill doctrine, and that ain't no woman's job. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Monte says it's easy to watch YouTube videos and translate their words into your own to make money. That's what they do. That's all they do. A lot of that stuff be selling. You can watch a YouTube video for that for free. I told you fake guruing is big. See, remember I told y'all don't be fooling with them NFTs and all that junk, and look at it now. Because they fake guru niggas up. Niggas paid a whole bunch of money to be able to learn how to do that stuff and invested their money in it. Now you done got God. You know what I'm saying? Because it was fool's gold. You know what I'm talking about? And it's, you know, women, y'all are easily, that's why Satan go for y'all, because y'all, when it comes to a lot of stuff, y'all emotional, so you're easy marks for manipulation. And especially because a lot of women want to be men or feel like or understand what it's like to achieve or be in a place that a man is until you start doing it. And as Nisha said, they be real single, because then you find out that men don't find those attributes attractive, because then he would be a homosexual. Like somebody did a video I seen today. That's right. See, Kira, we didn't even get to that one there. And Kira is right. The only way a woman can teach it is by showing it instead of speaking. Something like Timothy seen the faith in his mother and his grandmother, I believe. He say same with those Airbnb starter training sessions that they have the same info on YouTube and TikTok. But that's right. And I didn't mention that. And that's in 1 Peter chapter 3. It said, wives, win your husbands without the word, but with your conversation. The conversation is the conduct. But see, that's something different. We talk about that when we dealt with femininity. Femininity is something that's manifested through action, and that's what wins people over. If you want to win a man over, you win him over with your obedience and your femininity. You're not going to win a man over with your words, because he doesn't want to hear. No man wants to be instructed by a woman. No man wants to be corrected by a woman. I seen them, they were arguing about that. Your wife and your spouse supposed to be your best accountability partner. And then a lot of women don't understand, well, why he don't listen to me? Because when you come correcting him like you're his parent, and he's not going to listen to you. Because he's looking at you like, you my wife, I take care of you, I do this, that, that, and the third, and you talking to me like I'm your son. You got me all the way bent. When all you had to do was just pray for him and live the word. And if he don't correct his behavior, then just know that you who is determined to kill him and let life take its course. They definitely do. Some fathers definitely do teach their daughters to have that masculine competitive energy. And that comes from telling them don't depend on no man for nothing. And that doesn't sound good until she's 35 years old and she don't want to depend on herself no more. Now she can't get no man because she is one.
Oh, mom, stay single. I said she can't stay single because who's gonna take care of her for the rest of her life? And she started laughing like, "Yeah, you right. Yeah, what you mean?
Yeah.
You gonna take care of her?"
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that's why I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of brothers tell their daughters to not depend on a man and get some money so they can get out their house so they ain't got to take care of. They don't care what she do. Just get out of here. I don't care what you do. Just get out of here. Because I don't want to take care of you. Because that would have been the custom. Period. That father would have, if that little girl don't get no husband, that father was going to take care of that little girl for the rest of her life because that was duty and responsibility. You know what I'm saying? See, it done got switched in these days and times because they teach sons that sons ought to take care of their mothers for the rest of their life. And that's not the case. That is not the case. That is not the son's responsibility. The children's responsibility is to take care of the parents if the parents have become too old or too sick to where they can't care for themselves. So then you do for them what they did for you when you couldn't care for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? But it's not the kid's job to take care of the parents. You know what I'm talking about? The parent's supposed to have a spouse. You know what I'm talking about? But see, that's different. Only black people have this thought process because this is not taught in other nationalities of people. They don't have those problems. They have them, but not on the scale that we do. Ain't that right, Boo? Oops, I don't know what's going on. Come on back to Hebrews chapter 10. Pick this up at verse 26. I don't think I had none there. Yeah, that's good. He said, for if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. How much sorer punishment suppose you? He thought worthy who trodden under the foot the son of Elohim, and have counted the blood of the covenant wherein he been sanctified an unkadash thing, and have done spite unto the ruach of mercy. For we know that him that have said, vengeance unto me, I will recompense, saith Yahuwah, and again Yahuwah shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the living Elohim. See, that's the thing. Ain't no mercy with the first covenant. How do we know this? 1 John chapter 2, verse 1. After that, we'll go back to Exodus 34. We still got to work that 2 Samuel 1 in. That, y'all willing, that will not be neglected this day. 1 John chapter 2, verse 1. My little children, these things I write unto you that you sin not. If any man sin, we have an advocate with Abba, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. See, you didn't have an advocate. And how do we know this? Moses went to advocate on your behalf and was willing to offer himself. And what did Yahuwah say? No. Because look at verse 2 of 1 John chapter 2. And he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for our sins only, and also for the whole world. Notice that he said that he is a propitiation for sin. He didn't allow Moses to be that, which means there was no mercy. So you see how those two things go together? See, Moses tried to be the advocate. Notice that he didn't say that he forgave Yasharal for what they did. Notice that he didn't say that he put away the iniquity. That man say, I'm going to visit their sin, and when I visit it, you going to know it. And then he plagued them right after. I know that doesn't make, and I'm not saying none of y'all, that might not sit well with a lot of brood, but that first covenant was not made with mercy. Wasn't made with it at all, never was intended to. The law, remember, what is the law? The knowledge of what? Good and evil. And what happened in the garden when they got knowledge of good and evil? They died. When they got knowledge of good and evil, they died. So the law is the knowledge of death. There's no life in the law. The law cannot give life to anyone whatsoever. I know a lot of Bruce going to be offended by that. See, we were talking about this the other day. That's when Bruce said, he's talking like a Christian. See, you only assume that that's Christian-like because you have a desire to not obey. See, these dudes be so stuck on, oh, you tell it. Not one time did anybody say not to keep the law. Did anybody say that? Nobody said that you ain't supposed to be Kadash according to this man's instructions. The clear statement, which is clear according to the text, is that the law does not give life. It doesn't give life. It never was intended to give life. Because if it would have gave life, when Adam and Eve got hold to it, they wouldn't have died, they would have lived. But when they got hold to it, what happened? They died. See, they could have had life because they could have went to that which was of faith. Notice this here, right? We didn't talk about this before. When you read Psalms 1 and they say, blessed is he that meditate out the law of Yahuwah, that don't sit in the seat of the scornful. How did it describe him? Do you know how it described him? As the tree of life. When it said, blessed is he that trusts in Yahuwah, whose hope is Yahuwah. Do you know how it described that man? As the tree of life. They could have had life if they went to the tree of life, which would have been of faith. They turned that down. And they turned it down because of desire. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I just want you to understand that. There was no life in the law. Anybody who got their hand on the law, nobody lived. Because the minute you break it, the law say you got to what? You have to die. That's how that works. That's how that goes. There's no way around that. That's why I say there's a separation between Yahushua and Moses, because Yahushua came to bring life and Moses did not. Come over here to Exodus 34. And again, if you take that meaning, you ain't got to keep that man instructions, and that's what being said, I ain't gonna lie to you. That just means that's what's in your heart, because you ain't keeping them. You don't have a desire to keep them, and you feel like you got a virtue signal by making it seem like that you uphold that, but we know you a liar. Most importantly, you know you a liar. See, Boot no. Exodus 34, verse 6. And Yahuwah passed by before him, proclaimed Yahuwah Elohim, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and that will by no means clear, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children's children, unto the third and fourth generation. For those of you on here who may not be aware, do y'all know the difference? Do y'all recall the difference between iniquity, transgression, and sin? Because they are not the same thing. Do you know the difference? I've told you this before. So if you get it wrong, just know you're out of the family, and I ain't getting you no husband.
If I was out of the family, I would know that option 2 would be out the question.
Would it?
If I was out the family.
Shoot, if I find a nigga pay that dowry, you can be in the family for that dowry. Does anybody remember what's the difference between sin, iniquity, and transgression? Darius has mentioned that sinner is an offender. Darius ain't lie. Once they get a taste of that power, it's hard to go back into submission. It is for some women. And the worst part is they don't even get a lot of power. Iniquity from civic is perversing the word, and transgression is rebelling. That's right. No, we were talking about the actual word definition, Mother Sharona. The actual word definition for iniquity, as the brothers done put up here. Iniquity is perversity or depravity or perverting righteousness or perverting the word. So that's why he say, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, and referring to the scribes and Pharisees because they were perverting the word. They were making it be something that it was not. Transgression is simply rebelling, and sin is you an offender. You're guilty, and you are worthy of the judgment of your guilt. There are 3 different things. See, you can sin and not be a transgressor, and you could be a transgressor and not be a worker of iniquity. See, you can rebel against an instruction, but yet not pervert the word. And you could pervert the word, but not necessarily be a rebel. But 9 times out of 10, if you pervert the word, you're a rebel also. You know what I'm talking about? But they're different things. Yeah, they're different things. And I just want to make sure that y'all know that those are 3 different things. They denote 3 different actions. Most of those who've been around here for a while, they know that. So that's why I had to mention that, make sure for those who did know that. Verse 8, Moses made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worshiped. And he said, now, if I've now found grace in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray you, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. See, they perverted his word. How did they pervert his word? Because they took a golden calf, made an idol out of it, and said that was Yahuwah that brought them up out of Egypt. That's why it was iniquity. You know what I'm saying? It was sin because they were offenders and worthy of the judgment, but they perverted his word because they made something of their own hands and said it was Yahuwah. He said, behold, I will make a covenant. Behold, I make a covenant before all your people, and I will do marvels such as not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which you shall see the work of Yahuwah, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with you. See, that's a whole nother conversation that we could delve into right there. He said, I'll make a covenant with you. Remember what we read in Isaiah 59? That the covenant I made with you, the ruach I put upon you, and the words that I put in your mouth will not depart out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed. See, let's talk a little bit about a marvel. A little bit about a marvel. What is these marvels? What is a marvel? Not the comic book. I hear you like Marvel comics. You read comic books? Yeah, you read comic books. You used to be in there with your little boyfriend. I used to read comic books. Reading Batman, Aquaman. I know that's what you was in there doing. It's all right. You can tell your friends. So I'm not, oh, I don't like this nigga read no comic book. That nigga nerd. And if you didn't remember, it is Pala, to be marvelous, to be wonderful and extraordinary, separate by a distinguishing act. So he said he'll make a covenant before all the people, and he will do a distinguishing act which has not been done in the earth, nor amongst any nationality of people. This is what will allow us to segue back to looking at what's his name? Jonathan. 2 Samuel chapter 1. If you would. Because I know it was a lot of stuff in 2 Samuel chapter 1, and we need to deal with it. Make sure I got what I need. Come over here to 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 17. David lamented with his lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also, he bade them teach the sons of Yehuda the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. The beauty of Yasharal is slain upon your high places. How are the mighty fallen? I referenced a verse that goes along with that. Did anybody remember the verse that I referenced that went along with that? Does anybody know the verse that goes along with that? Oh, yeah, to answer your question earlier, because it just came to my mind. It's a little not as numb as before. We'll see how it goes. Well, no, because I have a spinal compression. And, no, sir. And my well, I already knew I had a pelvic tilt, but I don't think it was a pelvic tilt. My hips are uneven. One hip is here. I mean, that happens. And then that puts pressure on your on the nerves.
So you got even well.
Yeah, but you have to do it over and over again for it to stay like that. 1 John 2, no, sir. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to get the scar tissue out my back. Hopefully, I ain't got to go out like my man Bruce, because they had to cut on my man Bruce. Man, they had to cut him open.
Did we go over that Wednesday?
I referenced it.
Was it John 14?
It was not.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Stanley just told you what it was. Coming over here to Lamentations chapter 2. What we about to reference in Lamentations chapter 2, if you ain't heard it before, it's about to throw you for a loop. Most of y'all on here already know. I'm just going ahead and I'm giving you a heads up before we do it. Lamentations 2:1. And it says, how have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger? What happened? A cloud in his what? Y'all know when that happened. So we don't have to go into that. And cast down from Shamahim upon the earth the beauty of Yasharal, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. Who did he say he cast down from heaven? That what the people saying. What did this Lamentations 2, who did he say he just cast down from heaven? Because 2 Samuel chapter 1 just said the beauty of Yasharal is slain upon the high places. Ain't that what it said? Now, right here in Lamentations chapter 2, it says that, and cast down from heaven under earth the beauty of Yasharal. So, some of you already on here know this. Now, y'all know the one they always say got cast down from heaven. They say that was Satan. Boy, nowhere in this book did he told you he cast down Satan like that. Satan been in the earth, boy. Running rampant. That's just like brothers sit back and say, Satan in hell. When I say brother, I'm talking about the people. Satan ain't in hell. Book don't tell you Satan in the grave. Book don't tell you Satan in no pit burning. This book say this man is walking to and fro throughout the earth, looking to whom he may devour. And you know who he looking to devour? Those who love lies. And guess what? That's why a lot of women get duped, because that's one of the things he mentioned, and I learned that at an early age too. Women love lies. They love men who tell lies. Absolutely love it. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what Eve got caught up in. She wanted to be lied to. See, a lot of women want to be lied to. You know what I'm saying? Did you like to be lied to? Yeah, you did. That's why you looked off like that. You like to be lied to? Yeah, you just like them niggas lie to you. Whatever. Nigga tell you a bold-faced lie, you know he lying. I be like, but I like him though. That's right. That's the day's star. But see, we just referenced that for a reason, because you see two places referring to the beauty of Yasharal. You see one place where it say he was cast down, and you see another place where he say that he was hanged up on the high places. Let's take a look at that. High places. That he was slain upon the high places. Let me do that. Slain, halal, slain, fatally wounded. Pierced. Pierced. Let's go back and let's look at cast down from the high places and Lamentations. Let's see what that say. And remember, it said he remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. So what that tell us? My Elohim, why have you forsaken me? Because when he brought the cloud over him, he said he covered up the cloud, covered up the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger. So when he called that cloud and make it go dark upon the 9th hour, he did that in his anger. Man pissed off. So he didn't remember his footstool in the day of his anger. So when we look at cast down, and what do we have? We have shalak, which is to be plucked, to be thrown, to be cast away. And in that moment, when Yahushua was on the tree, he was cast away. This is important because he said, I'll do a marvel which has not been done amongst any nation at any time. Because what did the Roman centurion say once the temple had rent? The veil in the temple rent after the earthquake. What did he say? He said, surely this man is the son of Elohim. That's what he said. Now, of course, the work that he worked, something that had never been done, is that this man resurrected from the dead. You know what I'm talking about? But we're working our way towards that. Let's return to 2 Samuel. See, we could have referenced Isaiah 14, but then we'll be going down a rabbit hole. Pause. You know what I'm saying? For the super woke niggas in the back, that we don't care to go down at this time. I know some people, you trying to say Lucifer is Yahusha? We ain't trying to say nothing. The book tell you that. If you believe that Yahusha is that Lucifer is the devil, then this is the one thing that you have to ask yourself. Why do you believe that? And what did you base that off of? Did you base that off the text because someone thoroughly showed you out the text? Or did somebody just tell you Lucifer was the devil and you just went for that and no one ever gave you book for it? Nobody ever went through that and explained that to you. Now I'll give you this one here for those of you who are unaware. All you have to do is read one thing in Isaiah 14. And he said that he will enter into the sides of the north. Lee, do you know where it's talk about the sides of the north at? Do you recall? What about you, Michael? Mommy, where's Michael? No. Boo, do you remember where it speaks of the sides of the north? That is not in Isaiah chapter 14. Of course.
In Ezekiel?
No. And where you're going to read about the sides of the north, no, it tells you about the north gate. It does not use the terminology sides of the north specifically. If you want to know what the side of the north is, I would need you to go read Psalms 48. And when you read Psalms 48, he'll tell you beautiful situation, Zion, Jerusalem, city of the great king, in the sides of the north. Y'all remember that? Y'all know about that? They don't know about that. Lil Boo, they don't know. They like John B in here. Right here, Psalms 48:1. Great is Yahuwah, greatly to be praised in the city of our Elohim, the mountain of his Kadash, beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, Mount Zion, the sides of the north, the city of the great king. Now that's Jerusalem. So this is when you would have to ask yourself this one simple question. When did Satan ever say he wanted to sit upon the throne of David? When did the devil ever say, where can you read in the text that he wanted to sit on the throne in Jerusalem? So don't talk about, well, he making a temple in Jerusalem, but he ain't sitting on the throne of David. That's not where he said he wanted to sit. He wanted to be worshiped as Elohim, but he doesn't want to sit on Elohim's throne. Do you not understand if you sit on Elohim's throne, that is a tactful admittance that Yahuwah is the actual king? That's why you're sitting on his throne. See, Satan wants to be a king worship absent of Yahuwah, not in conjunction with Yahuwah, absent of Yahuwah. You have to understand and know that. He wants his own kingdom with his own dominion. See, he's only making a rule in Jerusalem to deceive the unlearned to believe that he is Yahuwah. That's the only reason, is to deceive. Because remember what the law say, that our work, whether the prophet or dreamer of dreams work a miracle and it come to pass, you better do what I said in my word. I don't care what he. See, some of y'all got raised that way. I don't care what your friend's mama told them. I don't care about none of that. You better do what I told you to do. I don't care what's going on around you. What did I tell you to do? Yahuwah has done the same thing in Deuteronomy 13. I don't care what's going on around you. I don't care what they're doing. What did I tell you to do? And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hold fast to the promise no matter what is going on around you. Doesn't matter. See, we don't have that in mind. You know what I'm saying? We feel like, hey, this happening over here, it's got to be a Yahuwah. It don't matter that he told me that. You know what story is supposed to help you remember that? When he told that prophet, don't eat no bread, don't drink no water in this place, and don't go back the way that you came. But the dude came and said, I'm a prophet too. Come eat bread and drink with me. I don't care if that nigga said he was God himself. That man told you don't do this. That's what you better do. Don't do it. He gave you the instruction. I don't care what he said. That's why Paul wrote in one of his letters, whether an angel from heaven or anybody else try to preach you another gospel, you better reject them. I don't care what they said. I don't care what they talking about. What did he tell you to do? I don't care if this nigga make an idol and the idol come to life and can talk. What did Yahuwah tell you not to do? Not to worship nothing made with hands. I don't care what they got. Oh, he made fire come down from heaven. I am not impressed. He resurrected from the dead. So what? I don't care nothing about that. My king resurrected from the dead and ascended into heaven. Boy, you born of a woman. My king lived forever. He died, he lived, he died, and now he lives forevermore. God bless Brother Langford. So I don't care nothing about none of that. That's the mind you got to have. It doesn't matter. See, some of y'all will be like, my mama said don't smoke no weed, but I'm going to smoke it anyway. Matter of fact, bump all that. Y'all remember the story in Jeremiah with the sons? Who remember the story in Jeremiah with the two sons? Who know what I'm talking about? Show of hands, who know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, show of hands, who don't know what I'm talking about? Let me say that. You remember that story, Lee? Huh? You say vaguely? You say what? Oh, you don't remember that story. Do y'all remember anything? Y'all been smoking the marijuana? I know you have. You be, because that sloppy built boy be liking to have like this here. Yeah, he looked like he liked to puff and toke and puff. You think he don't? Okay. But when he go home in his room and he's sitting alone and his conscience called and he thinking about Michael, I need love. That boy roll up that doobie. And say it's time to get high, Scooby. You know Scooby and what his name was? Shaggy used to get lit. Shalom, brother Shaul. He used to get lit in the mystery machine. That's why it was a mystery. You think, well, when a man be sad, he can't get the woman he want. That boy like this here, boy. I need some runts. That boy be in the room drinking white Hennessy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. You the one to get got. He never be like that. Whole time he like this here. I can be a thug for you. I can get personality. And he smoke his weed and he cry. He cried. He cut on Ja Rule and played just a little more part. I don't know how he stripped the vocals out. He just played a little more part. When I cry, he said, she don't cry with me. Yeah, that is right there, Brother Lane. But in Jeremiah 35, man, you had two sons, and their father told them to not build a house, but to dwell in tents. And because they did that, Yahuwah gave them an everlasting reward. No matter what was going on around them, they stuck to what their father told them. Now let's take a look at it because Janae says she's not for me. We do it for her. Jeremiah 35. The Rechabites is their name, if for those of you who don't know. 35, and when the word came, which came unto Jeremiah from Yahuwah in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, Malachah, Yehuda, go into the house of the Rechabites and speak unto them and bring them into the house of Yahuwah, into the one of the chambers, and give them wine to drink. Then I took Jezaniah, son of Yermiyahu, the son of Habazaniah, and his brethren, all his sons, the whole house of the Rechabites. I brought them into the house of Yahuwah, into the chamber of the sons of Hanan, the son of Igdaliah, the man of Elohim, which by the chamber of the princes, which above the chamber of Messiah, the son of Shalom, the keeper of the door. I set before the sons of the house of Rechabite pots full of wine and cups, and I said unto them, drink you wine. But they said, we will drink no wine. But Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father commanded us, saying, you shall drink no wine, nor your sons forever. But you ain't even realize, because remember, you tempt no man with evil. His son Jeremiah say, man, go get them boys some wine. Remember, Yahuwah already knew what their daddy had them told. And get what them boys said, oh, we can't drink no wine because my daddy told me not to do that there. I'll read it to you again. And they said, we will drink no wine. For Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father commanded us, saying, you shall drink no wine, nor your sons forever. Neither shall you build house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have, but all your days you shall dwell in tents, that you may live many days in the land where you be strangers. You know why he told them to do that? Never get comfortable here. You are a stranger and a pilgrim upon the earth. Never get comfortable. That's what tabernacles was supposed to be teaching you. That's why he had them dwell, because they were dwelling in booths. They were already dwelling in tents during the time the first tabernacles went down. You know what I'm talking about? He said, thus we have obeyed the voice of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, and all that he have charged us to drink no wine all our days. We, our wives, our sons, nor our daughters. Nobody in their house. See, a lot of women couldn't go for that. Nigga, we got to live in a tent. That's what my daddy said, ho. Now, you ain't like it, don't come around here no more. That's what my daddy said. See, a lot of people don't have that type of thought. Boy, their daddy told them don't drink no wine. Don't. You know how many niggas would have went and built the house, irregardless of what their daddy said? Then I'll go get a house. And you know why a lot of men would have built that house? Because they would have had a woman who would have pressured them to say, who care what your daddy said? I want to live in a house. I don't care what your daddy said. I need me some fruits and wine. You need to make you a vineyard. They would have did it just to please that woman. Verse 9, nor to build houses for us to dwell, neither we have vineyard, nor field, nor seed, but we have dwelt in tents and have obeyed and done according to all that Jonadab our father commanded us. But it came to pass when Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up into the land that said, come, let us go to Jerusalem for fear of the army of the Chaldeans, for fear of the army of the Syrians. So we dwell at Jerusalem. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto Jeremiah, saying, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, Elohim of Yasharal, go tell all the men of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, will you not receive instruction to hearken to my words, saith Yahuwah? The words of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, that he commanded his sons not to drink wine are performed. For unto this day they drink none, but obey their father's commandments. Notwithstanding, I've spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but you have not hearkened unto me. I've sent also unto you all my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending, saying, return you now every man from his evil way, and amend your doings, and go not after other gods to serve them. You shall dwell in the land which I've given to you, you and your fathers, but you have not inclined your ear, nor hearkened unto me. Because the sons of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, have performed the commandment of their father, which he commanded them, but this people have not hearkened unto me. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, behold, I will bring upon Yehudah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil that I've pronounced against them, because I've spoken unto them, and they have not heard, and I've called unto them, and they have not answered. And Jeremiah said unto the house of the Rechabites, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, because you have obeyed the commandment of Jonadab your father, and kept all his precepts, and done according to all that he have commanded you. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, Jonadab, the son of Rechab, shall not want a man to stand before me forever. You know what that means? See, what Yahuwah did in this instance is this. He used some sons who obeyed what their father said to be a witness and a condemnation against Yasharal for not listening to him. And then he took it a step further, because they brought these men into the house of Yahuwah for wine, and they say, I don't care where you brought me to, sir. My father told me not to drink no wine, and I ain't going to do it. I don't care where you took me. I don't care what you offering me. I don't care who is around. I know what I was told. And because of that, the whole house of Rechab will stand before the house of Yahuwah forever. That's what he told them. All because they held fast to the word, irregardless of what was going on around them. See, a lot of people don't get that type of thought process to hold fast to the word that tightly, because that's what they did. They didn't care nothing about that. Not no sons, not no daughters, not no wives, not no none of that. I don't care about none of that. What you talking about? My daddy told me this, and this what I'm going to do, because that's what he told me to do. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you talking about. See, that's a different type of dedication right there that most people don't have. And when I say dedication, I mean in reverence for their father. Now, I know we live in a different time. Most of you feel like my daddy this, my daddy that, or this, that, there, and the third. And if that's the case, that's unfortunate. You know what I'm talking about? It's unfortunate because you don't see your father as a man worthy of that type of honor. And I understand. You know what I'm talking about? But that's how it's supposed to be. If your daddy would have told you not to do something, you would have did it. Or would you have kept his word? See that there? See the thing right there? It depends on what it was. It wouldn't matter what it was. You know, I'm just talking about the thought process, because we not raised that way. That's not the pick on her. We not raised that way. Because most of y'all, if your daddy would have told you don't mess with a man, you'd have messed with him anyway. You wouldn't even gave no thought process to click in your mind like, why would my daddy tell me not to mess with this man? I know my daddy cared about me and he wanted the best for me. I know he wouldn't want nothing. It don't even click in your brain. It got to be serious enough for my daddy to tell me, because this nigga gonna take you away from him that he ain't got to take care of you no more. And he telling you don't fool with that nigga. It don't even run across a woman's mind. Why would my daddy tell me not to mess with this nigga? You think he don't know? I love him. I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna ruin my life. Because that's usually what ends up happening if your daddy tell you not to fool with a nigga. You end up ruining your life. When I say ruining your life, meaning you get with a man who does not make your life easier or better. That means you ruined your life, because you were supposed to get with a man who makes your life easier and better. See, like Lee don't have to go to work. See, they were talking about this on this show, man. They were saying who benefit more from marriage, men and women. Who you think benefit more? Huh? Why you think a woman benefit more? Any of y'all can answer that question, by the way. I ain't got to look for me. I'm just asking you. Who you think benefit more, Lee? You guess. I'm asking you for your opinion. There ain't no right or wrong. Just asking you for your opinion. Why you think the woman benefit more, Lee? Who benefit more, boo?
In this time, day and age.
Why you believe that, boo?
Why do I believe that?
Yeah.
Because, I mean.
Because.
Like you man is really doing the majority of everything.
Monte said the woman. On that show, they were saying that men benefit more because the stats say that married men live longer and married men make more money. And that was the only thing that they could really hang their hat on. You know what I'm saying? And one of the women had a stepfather, and they asked her who benefited more, her mother or her stepfather, and she was like, because he was fat when he got with my mom, and then he lost weight. But one of the dudes was like, he say, shoot, my wife benefits greatly. He said, you know what she gets to do after she dropped the kids off of school? Go get back in the bed and go to sleep before she get to go to do whatever it is that she want to go do after that. You know what I'm talking about? Because she doesn't work. You know what I'm talking about? See, I get up in the morning, I can't get back in the bed and go to sleep. That nigga can stay in the bed. That nigga be in there slobbing all on the bed. You know what I'm talking about? I get up at 8:30. I don't shoot. You. Oh, boo.
And I might take it down. She go back to
Now, of course, his wife has an older child, and of course, like so, she dropped that little girl off of school, and she go get back in the bed. You know what I'm talking about? What you say, Lee? Hey, for me, that's a grade A benefit. But if you can go drop a nigga off and go get back in the bed, yeah, that's all right. That's a win. That's a win. If you know, hey, not to say that you just in the bed all day, but you know, oh, I got to drop this nigga off of school 7 o'clock, and you know that you could go get in the bed for a good 2 hour, good old nap, whatever the case may be, unless you got something that's of a pressing matter that your husband done gave you. That's a win, because I can't go get back in the bed. I already know it. Get right back in the bed. What else I'm gonna do? Lady say, how you gonna say a housewife ain't no job? That nigga say she don't get paid. That nigga say, the hell you say? That nigga say, shoot, she ain't got to pay rents, light, this, that, there, and the third. Now he said, that's a strong payment to me. Remember, we done talked about this before. You know what I'm talking about? Nisha said, I'm cheesing. Just think about it. I'm gonna get in the bed. My chick gonna be at work, but I'm be in the bed. Far and good. Far and good. Look at Mike to my shoe. I can't wait to get me a husband so I can go get in the bed. Is it a lotto? You ain't got to know what it's like. I just said, I can't wait to get me a husband. I go get in the bed. I ain't got to go clean it. I go get in the bed. That nigga be like, I sell spotless to the highest bidder right now. I go get in the bed. In the bed? Shoot, what time you leave the house in the morning? Ain't what I asked. What time you leave the house?
Sometimes I leave at 7:30 or 8:30.
So you talking about 7:30 in the morning, and instead of leaving at 7:30 in the morning, you can just lay in the bed. That nigga gone though, but you in the bed. You ain't got to come in the house at 11 o'clock. Yeah, you wake up early now because you.
But no, sometimes like I might have a late start. Like today I had a late start.
So you were being lazy.
No, I did errands and chores and stuff.
Jessica said it was a great feeling. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying the point is, man, you can say, oh, I get up early. You only get up early because you had to go to work, take care of yourself. It don't matter what it was. Working out don't count. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just talking about you had to get up and go to work to take care of yourself. It's a different when you ain't got to get up to go to work to take care of yourself. You can stay here and sleep. Miss Bella here say, man, it sounds like a beautiful dream. You know what I'm talking about? It's a different way of living. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, because, you know, they just talking about longer health. We know that. Yahuwah got what to do with our health. We ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? It's other than what you put in your body and taking care of yourself, how long you going to live. We know with your money, Yahuwah got something to do with that. No matter what, Yahuwah increase your wealth. You know what I'm saying? We had that level of understanding. But, yeah, that's a different type of benefit. I ain't got to get up. And knowing that This nigga, not I ain't got to get up and be like, damn, that nigga go to work today. Cause see, it's a different deal if you lay in the bed, you roll over and look at the nigga, this nigga still here, and you know he ain't got money like that. No, because if you've been laying there, you go to thinking to yourself, okay, maybe he took a day off. Damn, that nigga been in the bed with me 3-4 days. You lost your job. What's going on? You know what you end up thinking about? That nigga need to get up out of here. I'm tired of seeing him. He need to go to work. Yeah, that's how y'all be feeling. He need to go to work. I don't like him like that. He need to go. Damn. You wasn't happy to spend time with your husband. That nigga said,
he was on holiday.
That man work hard, man. He could get him a 2-week vacation. That what your job get you, ain't?
I don't know if that made a job. It actually depends on how much hours you earn.
Y'all getting pimped. Oh, that's ugly. Exodus 34. They didn't say she was ready for him to go back to work. You sound like them football player wives. It ain't new. It ain't mini camp yet. You need to go. That ain't right, Lee. Back to verse 10. Still hold 2 Samuel chapter 1. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all the people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people which among you shall see the work of Yahuwah. It's a terrible thing that I will do with you. And the reason why I mention that is because I get it. People saying, oh, the man lived longer. But we talked about this before, just in the aspect of Yahuwah to his wife. It's always going to be more beneficial for the woman than the man. See, that's really just nonsense. I don't care nothing about no stats say living longer. When you take actual quantifiable and tangible benefits extracted and given from one party to another, when you actually do that, there's no way that there's anything that you could offer that could come anywhere close to what Yahuwah is going to give you as far as benefits is concerned. You know what I'm talking about? So just like what Lee said, it's not necessarily the children. When a woman comes to a man, she can only bring 2 things: herself and how she gonna benefit that man. That's it. Your money don't matter to that man unless he broke, or unless you bringing that money. I ain't gonna say broke unless you bringing that money to show how your money gonna benefit him, which most women are not going to do. If you got $1 million, you ain't gonna come to that man and say, "He go to $1 million, baby." You know what I'm talking about? Huh?
That's a half million.
You see that there? She keeping some back. She ain't even dropping all of it.
I mean, not immediately. Only because I might have this.
See, that's my point. You ain't gonna bring it to benefit me.
I am. Half a million? Shoot.
You supposed to drop it all. If you're gonna drop it.
Well, then that's probably what I texted.
Brother Langford say her faithfulness, but see, her faithfulness, that's a part of her bringing her, because she's either faithful or she's not. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a part of who she is as a woman. So when you get a woman, you're getting her, and how she gonna benefit you. When she gets you, she's getting more than that, because she's gonna have to get your ability to instruct. She's going to have to get your ability to correct. She's going to have your ability to have vision. She's going to have your ability to lead. You're going to have the ability to provide. You're going to have the ability to protect. You're going to have the ability to problem solve. You have to have a multitude of abilities, and everything I just mentioned is everything that Yahuwah possesses. You know what I'm saying? He solves problems. You know what I'm talking about? He leads, he corrects, he teaches. He instructs, he provides, and he protects. He does all of those things. And what is he getting from you? Just you, and how you can benefit him. That's it. That's what he's getting. You know what I'm talking about? And see, when you hear that, it sounds harsh and it sounds bad. And that's just what it is. It's not right. It's not wrong. It just offends men of this generation because these niggas is pussy. You know what I'm saying? You really want this woman. You want to be a woman. You want her to bring out. That's why they go, what you bring to the table? I don't care what you bring to the table. I'm going to tell you what I demand to come sit at my table. So I wouldn't ask what you bring to the table. I don't care what you bring to the table. This is what you gonna do, or you can move. You can go on. You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm off. I have brought you a table and I have furnished it. So I need to know how will you maintain and service said table. I don't need you to bring anything to it. You ain't got nothing I want. I don't want your wisdom and understanding. What I'm going to do with it? If I need your wisdom and understanding, that means I'm devoid of it. That's why the book says, which one of you taught Yahuwah in the way of understanding? Who has taught him knowledge? That's why I say that, because you can't get, there's nothing that you can bring to Yahuwah that he don't already have. That's why I told you a lot of these boys lazy and they want to be broke. You know what I'm talking about? So they can have a woman who brings something so they can feel better about their lack of execution as a man. They feel, yeah, she got to bring something to the table. You ain't got to bring nothing. What you going to do for me? How you going to benefit me? You ever had a man ask that? You ever had a man ask that? I don't count. You know what I'm saying? Mike ain't never asked you that. Yeah, y'all been together a long time now. Well, y'all about 10 years, ain't it? Or 11 or 12? 2022? Because I met y'all in 2012. And you were pregnant with Michael then. You know what I'm saying? That was a long time. I wouldn't expect him to answer that because y'all might have still been teenagers then. I would. He was. That nigga grown. That nigga was 20. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference for that because most women are not accustomed to a man looking them in the face and say, okay, what you gonna do to benefit my life? Because what you've been told that he supposed to tell you how he gonna benefit your life, ain't it? What he gonna do for you? You know what I'm talking about? Don't none of us sit back and look at everybody who come to the Lord. They always looking at what they can do, how he can benefit them. They ain't never worried about what type of. Remember what we just read about Anna? What it said she did in the temple, served with fastings and prayers for 84 years. Her whole mind was what I can do for him. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tell people about this redemption that's coming. I'm gonna minister to the saints. I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna do this here. See, that's something that's either in you or it's not. You know what I'm saying? To have a mind for that. And when I say have a mind for it, not just with the people who you congregate with, not just how some brews look at it. I go out here and do it with the poor and the homeless. That don't mean nothing if you won't do it to the people who are in the same body as you, or you don't even have a mind to do that for them. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't matter. And that's different. You see that in the text, that the text always speaks about the women serving the people at large, strangers, the brothers, all that, not just their husband. When you got this in their mind that I'm only supposed to serve my husband, then you don't have the mind that the women of old had at one time. And we went through this before. But marriage is not for everyone. Marriage is a responsibility, an obligation, and loyalty of the heart. I mean, it is. It is a gross obligation. And that obligation rests more strongly on, see, in this day and time, most of the women feel like it's more of an obligation to be a housewife. But it's always more on the shoulder of the leader. He has more of a burden to bear. Because he doesn't, see, she don't really have, see, that she's responsible for the kids, but she really not. Because the man's responsible for everybody under his roof. See, that's what I would tell the brother today, dude. Like, you got to get every young man don't want to be no preacher and be over no assembly. Because see, now it's not even just about your family no more. You got to carry the burden of everybody. Every man, every woman, every child. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what he wasn't understanding. See, if it's just you, then guess who all you got to be worried about? My wife, my kids. You know what I'm talking about? You over in an assembly, you can't even have no thought about my wife and my kids. You have to have a thought of everyone. Everyone. Can't even have no thought about how this best gonna benefit my family. That can't even come into your mind. And then you say you were serving of Yahuwah and he sent you to do that task. Because you got to be concerned with everybody. Every single solitary person. And most people don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for everybody. I don't want to carry everybody's burdens. I don't want to deal with everybody's problems. I don't want to talk. I done heard dudes say, yeah, I'll teach the word, but I don't want to talk to the people about what they got going on. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to teach the word and go. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to deal with that. And that's what I was trying to tell them. Everybody don't want to. It's more to it than just, I got to dispense word. Because if this person, if Lee called at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you got to deal with that. I don't care if you was tired. I don't care if you was asleep. You got to deal with that. You know why? Because what would be different than that if that was your blood sister and she called you at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? You ain't going to put her off the phone. So you can't do Lee like that. You know what I'm saying? If Shaul Lamante called at whatever time and they say, but I got something going on, you got to deal with that. And it don't matter what you got. You can't be like, man, I got my own stuff going on. This nigga call. It don't matter. That's what a job called for. So you're going to have to put that to the side and you're going to have to deal with what he got going on. You know what I'm talking about? You see them churn, you got to deal with them churn the same way you deal with your own churn. You can't do that. You don't have that latitude. It can't be like, long as my family's straight, you a whole nigga as far as I'm concerned. If you say you preach the word and that's what you're going to do, because that's not how this job works. You have to be concerned with everybody. It wouldn't matter if the assembly had 40 people or 4,000 people in it. But I told you before, it's better to have when you have a whole bunch of people, you can't keep track of all the people. It's forfeit what they got going on. Some people slip through the crack. Sometimes some people don't slip through the crack. Some people smoking crack. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on. Nisha say, working with so many women who had to work the past few years and didn't have the option of being home, opened my eyes that being a housewife is most definitely a privilege. It is, because I had to tell somebody that they felt like if you got married, you should automatically make a woman a housewife. That is something that that woman earns. That is not. But see, if she's your wife, she should have. Her being a housewife is because the point to be your wife. You know what I'm talking about? Because you shouldn't put a woman in a position to be your wife if she didn't earn that. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of dudes wife up women, and I told you before, she ain't earned that. You just wanted a wife. You were emotionally weak and needy, and you needed a woman next to you to make yourself feel better about yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Definitely, this is a true love is outwardly focused and other-centered, even evolving around the will of Yahuwah. And of course, the book tell you that love seeks not our own. And Yahushua has taught you that by his literal works. David taught you that. Shoot, Jonathan taught you that because Jonathan didn't seek anything from David. You know what I'm saying? Which goes back to our point of what we're talking about, a friendship offering or the peace offering, because that's of an alliance. See, when you seek to become a friend with someone, you're not seeking to get anything from them. You're not seeking your own. You're seeking, how can I be valuable and beneficial to them? See, now, when a man's taking a wife, that's a tad bit different. But he knows that he's going to have to serve this woman in the capacity of what his job requires him to serve, which it seems like a lot of these men in this day and time don't want to do. When you take on a family, you're taking on a responsibility. You ought to provide for that woman. You ought to provide for them children. That's the responsibility that you signed up for. Don't nobody want to hear no pussy nigga crying about what a job that you volunteered for. If you ain't want the job, whole nigga, you shouldn't have took it. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I hear a grown man crying about he got to take care of his family. I just know that this man has not matured to the point of manhood to even call himself a man. Because why in the world is you crying about something that you volunteered for? And if you volunteered for it just to have sex, well, shame on you, dummy. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up, because I mean, a lot of people in the world, that's the only reason why a lot of dudes in the world want to get married. So they can hunt and not feel bad about it later. Not sitting back looking at, I don't want to take care of this woman. I don't want to take care of these kids. I don't want to teach this woman. I don't want to teach these kids. I don't want to do none of that. See, you didn't think about any of that. And then when it falls in your lap, you want to cry about it. You know what I'm saying? Or as a woman, if you knew that you ain't really want to stay in the house and change no doo-doo diapers, and you ain't want to cook and you ain't want to clean, and you ain't want to be subject to this man and this, that, there, and the third, you know you're going to hell regardless, because clearly you ain't going to serve God. But that's another matter. Then why would you want to be a wife? Because you ain't want to go to work? Because you wanted somebody to take care of you? Why would you sign up for something that you know you didn't want to do? It's women who done had kids with niggas and they know they don't like churn. So you decided to ruin a child's life by giving him some mental and emotional instability because you don't like children. Oh, you looking like, what? Women had kids and they don't like kids? Yes, it's very sad. It happens a lot, more often than you think. It's a lot of women out here who have children and they don't like kids. You know what I'm saying? And they only had children so this nigga could keep taking care of them. Shoot, they don't like him either. You know what I'm talking about? But they were like, shoot, I ain't got to work. Or I ain't got to pay for this. I see men be shook like that because a man's not going to do that. A man's not going to marry most of the time, because there's a few dummies out here that are not going to marry a woman he doesn't like. It's some dummies out here who will marry a woman he don't like, but it's not many in comparison. Men usually don't marry a woman he doesn't like. So if he marries her, he likes her. Now, whether she likes him or not, that's a different conversation, because a woman will marry a man she does not like. You know what I'm talking about? Like, yeah, don't like. Now, there's a difference of you live with him and after a while you be like, you know, I don't like this nigga. I just heard. You know what I'm talking about? That's a little different. Because you don't really know if you like somebody till you you don't really know somebody till you live with them. And you be like, dang, I don't like this nigga. This nigga's weird. There's some niggas that found out about their wife, I don't like this girl. She fart. She do this, she do that. So we ain't talking about stuff like this here, like they be claiming that he don't put the seat down. So he ain't talking like that. You see them in their natural element, because when you live with somebody naked, see how that work with the word when you dwell in you, and he say, you know, all things are naked unto him whom we have to do. Because if you enter into his house and you trying to live with him and he live with you, you naked. There's nowhere for you to hide. He sees you for who you are. And then when you live with somebody, you see him for who they are, and then you begin to realize, I don't like this nigga. You know what I'm saying? This nigga's weirdo. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that one ain't gonna do it.
Huh? What?
I said that one, you got no choice.
You got a choice. One thing about life, you always have a choice.
You got a choice, but you know.
You may not like your options, but you always got a choice. Because one thing about it, I ain't finna live in no house with no woman I don't like. You know why that's gonna happen? Because you're gonna end up having strife and you're gonna have to dwell on the rooftop anyway. So it's better off just go ahead and leave.
Oh, you talking about that? I'm talking about the nuance.
I mean, that's different. It'd be like this here.
Yeah.
That's just certain stuff. I'm talking about, I ain't even really talking about little stuff like that. I'm talking about you really dwell with a nigga, you see their whole personality, the good, the bad, maybe the ugly, maybe medium ugly. You know what I'm talking about? And then you go to realizing, I don't like this nigga. That doesn't happen a lot. Most people know they don't like the person before they married him. You know what I'm talking about? But they married him anyway. He said, when a man and woman enter in a vow to cleave and join one another to Yahuwah binds them into that obligation, duty, and responsibility. Now, I ain't going to tell you no lie. We ain't say no vows because there wasn't no need to. Y'all didn't notice that? Oh, you did? How did you notice that? They ain't say no vows.
I was like, oh, it's just reception.
Yeah, say vows for what? Them people ain't never say no vows. Your forefathers never stood before anybody and said no vows. You know why we ain't say no vows? No, because the Lord say, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Anything more than that proceedeth evil. Ain't no need. We already know the contractual obligations that the standard that Yahuwah requires. So entering into a covenant. Now you can write up a covenant that details that out, but we already know what Yahuwah requires. So there's no need to do any of that. I don't need to make a vow and say, I vow to you to do this, that, there, and the third. I ain't foolish enough to do that. What if I say I vow to cook every Thursday and then I don't do it? I'm going to hell. I done told y'all this before. A lot of people who got married, whether they was in the word or not, and they made vows, well, you swore before heaven that you were going to do something. And now you ain't did it. And that man going to hold you to that because you vowed to him you was going to do it. You know what I'm talking about? That part of the reason I ain't want to do no courthouse jump, man. I ain't making no vows about nothing for nothing about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And not because I'm not going to do it, just because I know better than that. Things can happen. Now you swore before heaven, you got to keep your word. Don't swear before heaven and not keep your word, because he's going to exact that from you. You know what I'm talking about? No, that vow has to be spoken, bro. It got to be spoken. You can't make a vow in actions. You know what I'm saying? You know who made a vow and he had to keep it and it made him sad that he had to keep it? You know who did it? Jephthah. Jephthah vowed before Yahuwah and said, I'll give the first person that come out my door as a burnt offering unto Yahuwah if you deliver us from these Philistines. And Yahuwah did. And when he came home, his only daughter came out the door. And he had to keep it. It made him sad, but he had to keep his word. He had vowed to Yahuwah. He had to do it. That's why the book say when Yahuwah can't swear no greater than he swear on his name. You know what I'm saying? Like when you vow, you opening up your mouth and you saying, that's why he say, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Anything more than that proceed evil. Just yes or no. You gonna love your wife? Yes. You gonna take care of your wife? Yes. They come to you solemnly swear? No, I don't. That's why they came with you. Do you affirm? I don't. I look at people dead in the face. I don't. Because see, when you see, y'all can get out of jury duty if you come and say, hey, I'm a Yahudim, man, I can't make no oath. Can't do it. I ain't gonna do it. Nothing personal. I ain't doing it. See, y'all supposed to know the word enough to know that, not just to get out of jury duty, but you supposed to know that. I can't make no oaths. I ain't swearing on nothing. I ain't vowing on nothing. Yes, it's sufficient. If my yes ain't sufficient, then I guess it's shoot. We can't go no further. Yes, it's sufficient. Man, I told y'all that a long time ago. That's how I was raised in the streets, man. True stand on the song. You ain't got to add no. Some of y'all know that. I swear to God. You know how niggas be doing it. When you were young, I swear to God, I ain't do it. And be lying. You know what I'm saying? And lying. Dead niggas getting up. Niggas, stop swearing on me.
That's how you know somebody be lying. If you go that far.
Niggas swearing on their kids. Swearing on their life. Lying. Yes or no is sufficient. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work for you. It ain't gonna work. Exodus 34:11. Observe you that which I command you this day. Behold, I drive out before you the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite. Listen what he said. Take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you go, lest it be a snare in the midst of you. You better be careful making covenants with these people in this country. He never said that you couldn't make a covenant with somebody else. He said you better take heed to yourself. Because you know what ends up happening when you get into contracts with people. Remember what Paul wrote in Romans? Covenant breakers. Yahuwah don't like no covenant breaker. You enter into a contract with somebody, you need to keep it. Keep your word. Because if you don't keep your word, guess what that make you? A liar. See, that's tight. See, people don't think about stuff like that. But you shall surely destroy their altars and break their images and cut down their groves. For you shall worship no other God, for Yahuwah, whose name, jealous, is a jealous Elohim. See, yeah, that's the new thing they like to say on God. Lying on that man. Nigga be saying on God about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with it. He's sitting in heaven like this here. You dummy. You know where they only get it passed from? What God you talking about? Because remember, when Yahuwah swore, he didn't say, I swear on Elohim. Because there's Elohims of many. But it's a one true Elohim. Well, Yahuwah swore on the name of Yahuwah. That man say he swore on his name that they would not enter into his rest. That would he say, I swear by my name, y'all not getting in here. Indeed, you do need to be wise about the contracts you make and the vow that, but I wouldn't recommend anybody to make a vow about anything. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't recommend it personally. The Lord told you not to do it. I'm gonna rock with that. And y'all know I've always told you that. And I always told you that. Ain't no need to swear. Yea be yea. Nay be nay. That's sufficient. If you don't trust, if I got to swear to make you trust what I got to say, then you ain't nobody I need to be fooling with anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Because that means you don't trust my word. So what I'm gonna deal with you for? You know what I'm talking about? I ain't fooling with you. Oh, you say consider. Right. Okay, I got you. Even still, I wouldn't recommend you make no vow, man. Yahushua gave the instruction. Y'all can do whatever you want. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't never heard me make now vow about nothing. I was thinking about that the other day because dude talking about, you know your wedding vows. I'm like, nigga be holding the Bible saying wedding vows. There ain't no wedding vows in this book. Nigga be standing at weddings holding the whole Bible open, talking about, let me read these vows. Ain't no vow in the book. You know the worst vows that anybody ever did, man, was the ones that they wrote and then them niggas got divorced. How you write up some junk and you ain't even keep? You came up with this on your own. There say if a person made a covenant with a person, could you get out of it in the sense, not like a marriage? Oh, you talking about like a contract? I mean, there's always outs and contracts and clauses, you know what I'm saying? Because like you could enter in, when you get a mortgage, you're entering into a contract, but yet you could there's still an out on that mortgage where like you could pay it off or you could sell it to somebody else and let them take over it and you wouldn't necessarily be a liar. You know what I'm talking about? Now, you would be a liar if you entered into a contract and you just outright said, I'm not doing anything in it. See, that would be a breach of contract. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends on the contracts you enter into. You know what I'm talking about? Because, shoot, I done entered the contracts with companies, them niggas said, bump you, we ain't paying you. I was like, well, damn. You know what I'm talking about? That's how you feel? Going to have to put you in the bag somewhere. Don't do that. But let's look at verse 15, right? Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and you go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and call you, and you eat of his sacrifice. Come over here, I think it's 1 Corinthians chapter 10. See, notice why he say he don't want you to enter in a covenant with them people, because if you enter in with a covenant with them people, you're going to end up having to serve their gods. That's what's going to end up happening. Don't do it. $10 and what? 21. You can make it 10 and 14. Actually, make it 10 and 12. Wherefore, let him think. This is 1 Corinthians 10 and 12. Wherefore, let him that think he stand take heed lest he fall. There have no temptation taken you, but such is common to man. Elohim is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you were able, but will the temptation also make a way to escape that you may be able to bear it. You've seen that with the retrobites. There was a temptation and there was a way out. And they were able. One thing about it, anything you get tempted on, there is a way out. Most of y'all can see a burning building and see the exit sign and go to the exit sign. Well, that's how you have to treat temptation. But most people are too stupid. You know why most people, I ain't gonna say too stupid, most people are too slow to get away because they want the temptation to catch them. You know what I'm talking about? They want the temptation to catch them. They want a reason to indulge. Don't find a reason to indulge. If you know that that indulgence will be for your destruction. Most people love to revel in that which is destructive. You know what I'm talking about? Whether it's sin, whether it's drugs, whether it's idiotic people that they like to hang with. Some people, that's what they like. And honestly though, the reason why people do that is because of lack of self-esteem, confidence, trust, and belief in themselves and their God. So they feel like that they ought to destroy themselves with things that aren't good for them, because you've allowed the adversary to persuade you that you are unworthy of grace and mercy and that you ought to be destroyed. Well, that persuasion don't come from heaven. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Because I talked to people that before and they had that thought process. I'm like, boy, that comes from the devil, boy. That didn't come from the Lord. The Lord ain't put that in your mind. The devil put that in your mind for you to believe that. Well, I might as well go out like this here anyway. Because you know what a nigga evil, because they just cast word away completely. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't want to do this here. Is somebody out there looking at you? You got friends out there?
No.
Or you looking at yourself and your reflection?
I can't even see myself.
Oh, you can.
I just happen to, look at it.
That's it. Darius said, that's funny. That's like when you was playing hide and go get when you was younger and the girl don't even attempt to run away. She just let you catch her. You was out here grown playing that? Oh, y'all don't play that in New York. No, we don't play stuff like that. We play smoke the weed and get bold. What? You played that when you were young, Lee? Huh? Well, hide and go get. Instead of playing hide and go seek, it would be boys and girls playing, and then one person, you know, if you get caught, then the little children would hunch each other. I know Deidre done played that before. She lived in it. You would play. She from Eureka Gardens, so I know she played.
Oh my God.
So you ain't played.
I am not from Eureka Gardens.
You see, she said she ain't. You see, she ain't denied.
Yes, I played before. That's black people game, weird stuff. You know?
It's weird stuff, but you were playing.
It is. Kids shouldn't play that.
Who you learned that from?
People in the neighborhood.
In Eureka Gardens.
And
you was out there hunching too, wasn't you?
No.
Being grown.
Never.
So you ain't get caught.
And Eureka Gardens?
I'm talking about the game.
The game?
So
I get caught.
yeah, playing hide and go get. You ain't never let one of them little boys catch you. You believe it?
I mean, I would remember, honestly.
Kalisha, you was out here playing hide and go get, letting them little boy catch you. You would be probably between the ages of 5 and 9.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. 7 and yeah.
Y'all confused? Well, clearly you ain't grow up with niggas. And she was out there playing, getting caught.
No, I guess I remember. You will remember that.
Monte said you need a Metro card to play hide and go get in New York. Oh, so you had one. Oh, you were playing.
No. I just thought of, like, I visualized what you said, like, wow, like, that was funny.
Was it? Because you were playing.
No.
So y'all ain't play hide and go seek in New York, huh?
No. Around that age, I was a kid. I was playing Scully, hopscotch.
Yeah, you New York. That nigga about to Scully. Don't nobody play that junk, nigga. Scully.
I was playing Scully.
Yeah, I was gonna say only in New York, nigga. Yeah, niggas in the South.
Fun.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Niggas in the South was managed.
Scully champ.
Where your proof at? Some old Babbage hopscotch. That's what it is.
No,
Niggas tossed in aluminum foil on some squares. On some squares.
It's like carpet tops.
On some squares. These niggas playing shuffleboard in the hood. That's what it is. They playing shuffleboard.
That thing was fun.
Game that old white men and women play when they retire. You know what I'm saying? They might play it on a cruise. That's what it is. The niggas playing shuffleboard. Yeah. Yeah. That's what Scully is. Nigga shuffleboard. See, that's a problem. You're playing handball with the boy. Handball was fun. Niggas in the South don't do none of that. Niggas in the South run around here so they can dry hump a little girl. They don't know where they learned it from. Look at that. She crazy, but she played though.
I just said it was crazy. No, I did. My brother got in trouble for that. This little white girl. Yeah.
He was swirling young, huh?
Shoot, about 3 times. 3 different white girls too.
They let him catch it. Get me, I like him. You know what's crazy? Some of y'all got grown and play hide and go get it. I'm gonna let him get me. But you wasn't getting. You was copulating.
Oh gosh.
Nasty bastards. 34 and 17. 16 actually. Oh, I didn't read 1 Corinthians 10. I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Verse 14. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. Because the reason why I'm focusing on the idolatry part is that what is the whole sole reason. Well, you still woke. Look at you. Trying to be grown. You sleep. You took your rest. I know it's a grown nigga on here sleep right now. How tired I've been working all day. Don't nobody care. I was in 110-degree heat. Boy, that junk will sap your soul out if you don't eat right. See, if you don't eat right, it do something to you. See, a lot of niggas, they be in that sun, and they be like, I'm tired. That sun sapping all their energy out of them because you been eating Twinkies and Ho-Hos. I ain't talking about, oh, they tell you drink water. If your diet bad, that water. See, if your diet good, that sun don't beat you down like that. This scientific fact. You can look it up. I done ate fried chicken when outside. Ooh, Lord, I was tired.
that oil be frying.
All jokes aside, though, your ability to not be drained, being in the heat and being in the sun is contingent on your diet. If you eat fast food, zooms and whams and trash, that's why you be out in the sun, be like you tired, you feel drained. Because the sun giving you vitamin D, so the sun should not have that effect on you to the point that you feel like you need to go to bed. You know what I'm saying? It's different now. You know, like you hot, you're uncomfortable, you sweating, you losing fluids. You know what I'm talking about? Let me go in the house because I'm like this, that, and the third. But most people can't be in that heat like that because they diet bad. You know what I'm saying? When your diet bad, that son gonna beat you down, and you're gonna be like this here. Because I had a conversation with somebody about this. I said, now this Florida heat different, but she was talking about sitting in the sun. You know, it's like sun, you know, just being out in the sun. I'm like, man, I work in that junk. That junk different. You know what I'm talking about? But if you find yourself just being in the sun and now you lethargic, or your diet's trash. It's absolute trash. You know what I'm talking about? 10 and 14, one more time for 1 Corinthians 10. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. I speak as to wise men, judge you what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless is not the communion of the blood of Hamashiach. The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Hamashiach? For we, many, are one bread, one body, for we are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Yasharal, after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? Did you not just see that in verse 15? Let me read it to you again. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and sacrifice unto their gods, and call you, and you eat of his sacrifice. What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered and sacrificed to idols is anything? But that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to Elohim, and I would not that you have fellowship with devils. See, this is the part that people don't want to look at. These people just not sacrificing the false gods, they sacrificing the devils. And you ought not to participate. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? See, you know why that's the point? Because that's what they did in Exodus 32. They tried to drink the cup of Yahuwah and the cup of devils at the same time, and they provoked him to jealousy. And he's telling them that here in Exodus 34, don't do it. You know what I'm talking about? Is it understandable? Is it clear? Do you see why Paul making the statement? He just adding the breaking of the drinking of the wine, which we know these people say they do once a month. First Sunday, ain't that what it was? You used to go? First Sunday, you get your cup. Nah, my people heathens, we ain't going there. We wear our white. Say I wasn't going. I was out here dancing with the sisters. That's only people who teach dance, ain't it? Who men? But how many straight men do it? Yeah, 0. I just seen a clip where a lady was talking to a dude. Dude was trying to say, oh, she don't want him because she ain't attracted, but the dude was bisexual. That's right, it is. That's exactly right. The dude was bisexual, but she ain't attracted to him. Yeah, because he's gay.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to shame women for not dating. So weird.
Well, I mean, how's it?
No conversation.
How's it new when they've been trying to get men to date trannies and saying that you're transphobic, that a trans woman is a woman? That's a dude. When this nigga take his drawers off, that nigga gonna have a penis.
No, she said it's different because you trying to shame women to be with a man that's been tampered with. Like,
I mean, but some women like men who've been tampered with. I mean, it's a woman right now just kiss a nigga in the mouth who just got tampered with. She just don't.
See, that's different. I have a friend who messes with a guy that's been tampered with, and she need to let him go because he trash as a man in general.
You mean to tell me you know a nigga who likes to have himself plugged and he got a woman and one of your friends?
He let that lifestyle go.
They never let it go. I'm just talking. They can let it go. That means you will be alive. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you the average person in the flesh believe. The average person in the flesh believe that if a man lets another man go in his back door, that he'll be gay forever. Now, of course, we know that's not the case because with Yahuwah, anybody can repent. Clearly, he said that there were some men who abused themselves with mankind and that the power of Hamashiach redeemed them. And I believe personally that's the only thing that can redeem a man unless he is just actually disgusted with being with men. But I just never knew how the thought process of a dude just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to get me a man today. I don't know how that works. How does that happen? I ain't gonna tell you no lie. A lot of niggas that desire and that lust, it be in their mind, And all it takes is the opportunity. I told you because that's what I seen in prison. Some niggas did wake up like that, like, he looks nice. And then they go to question and they say, am I gay? No, I'm not gay. I like his pecs. Oh, no. You know what I'm saying? That's how I start. At least that's what I seen on documentaries. Charles Barkley definitely said, he told me, so you ain't never thought about, like, that man looks good, you want to have sex with him? I'm like, whoa, nigga, you weird. And he said that on a live broadcast. Years. He has been. He has been. And of course, you know the clip from what's your name? You know what I'm saying? Like, all jokes aside, though, that stuff come in when you have perverse thoughts, and then you dwell on those perverse thoughts for entirely too long, and then eventually you want to act on those thoughts. Go ahead. Yeah, you want to act on those thoughts, and you don't want to do that. All right, you can go ahead before I read this here. We finna get off of here in a second anyway. Yeah, you won't do that. That's not good. Well, she ain't ready yet. Come over here. Let's get this verse.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. My fault.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I actually have a friend I just had a conversation with. A guy she was dealing with. I know some of the escapades they have had sexually. And the guy approached her and said, would you rather be cheated on you or be bisexual? And I told her, that's not no random question.
It's not.
He's asking you that. He's telling you something for a reason, and he's trying to see how you're going to cope and handle it.
Handle that.
He tell you
that he's gay.
Definitely.
Because to me, there's no such thing.
I was commenting and telling her, oh, she's shaped like a boy.
What was the question?
No, she was saying that she just had this conversation with a woman, and basically the dude was trying to tell her he liked men. He's with men, because he was trying to throw that out there, honestly, to gauge her response. There's no say you're not bisexual, you're a sodomite.
Yeah, he said you'd rather be cheated on or date somebody that's bisexual.
Like, what kind of question is that for a man to ask? You want to be cheated on or you want to pump? You know what I'm saying, me? Because you ain't bisexual. Once you let a nigga tap in your butthole, you're a faggot. You are a bundle of sticks. You are a sodomite. You are a rump ranger. You are a pillow biter. You are a man of low degree. And that's just how I see that. Go ahead, Bella. What is that?
Tap in, meaning, you know.
He's been sodomized.
Yeah. You know, the term tap.
What if he's the one that's doing it?
Oh.
One thing that I've been told, that's even worse. But one thing I've been told from sodomites when I was in prison is that the nigga who catching ain't gonna be catching all the time. He gonna want to pitch too. So even the most masculine of sodomite who's pitching, eventually he gonna have to catch. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was told from sodomites I was in prison. You know what I'm saying? Now, what they do or what they don't do, I don't know. But you got to be perverted in your mind and say, you know what? I want to treat this man's body like a woman's. That's not a woman. That's a man. Nigga, you gay.
That part is my friend said she feel like the dude in a relationship sometimes. Because I'm like, wait, hold it, time out.
Because he is in a relationship with a man. She gonna find out that he has a man.
It ain't came yet, but I told her you need to be paying attention to that very carefully because that's too random of a question. You just need to come out and say.
No, listen to it. Listen to it. This is what you tell your friend. You look her in the eyes, right? Listen to me now. I'm gonna say something. It might sound funny, but then just focus on the serious part. You look her in the eyes and you tell her, baby, now we can go to the store and we can get you a rose, a Brillo, and a stem, and you can smoke crack. Or you can stop messing with that faggot before you catch AIDS. You know what I'm talking about? So you want to smoke crack or you want to catch AIDS? Because that's your options right now. You know what I'm talking about? Because that man is having sex with a man. You know what I'm talking about? And if that man is having sex with a man, that man gonna bring that woman a disease. Because I can guarantee you, if your friend is being sexually active with that man, she is not always requiring for him to use a prophylactic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I know that this nigga's having raw sex with this man because he been with this man. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason why I say that because I am a man. And if a man asks you an old question, and this is simplistic, this is regular elementary school psychology this nigga used. Would you rather get cheated on or be with a man who bisexual? It is a woman's question because this is my personal observation. Once a man's freshness seal has been broken, he becomes more and more feminine because he is being humbled like a woman. So his level of masculinity is always going to dive because you're being humbled like a woman. You're being put in a woman's position because the woman is humbled. You know what I'm saying? You are being literally physically dominated for the point of intimate pleasure. You are going to become and behave like a woman because he asked you a little girl's question. And if he asked you that question, I would put money on the fact that this man is in a relationship with another man. You know what I'm talking about? Because in his mind, he is cheating on his man talking to your friend.
We haven't spoke on it anymore, but then I can hear this new trend where some guys were like, I've heard an older woman tell me one of her friends, if she dated guys, she won't mess with him if she can't touch nothing in his butthole. And some guys are like, oh, they like that, they should be able to do that with their partner without no judgment.
Because them niggas gay. You know what I'm saying? But see, women do that because a lot of women they want to be able to see how weak this man is. And the best way to find out how weak a man is can I violate your rectum and sodomize you and make you an abomination towards your whore. I mean, it's a lot of women out here who like that.
I'm sorry. Not a friend, but I'm just saying women that
Thank
I hear you say that because I know that you have celebrities like Tank saying there's nothing wrong with it. I saw that interview a year ago.
Tank is a homosexual.
As a woman,
you know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. I'm just telling you this here. Where that point coming at is this. When you care more about pleasure or satisfying a woman's desires, you'll always go against your whore. And most dudes like this here, oh, I should be, because it's not men who are pressing for that to be done. It's women saying men should let that be done. It's not a problem if you like that. And that is a form of emasculating you. Because once she does that to you, she will never see you as the leader and ruler of a man. You allowed me to violate a sacred part of your body that should not have been violated. And then because of the quote unquote G-spot of a man being contained in that particular area of his body, and then a dude allow a woman to do that, and then he feels some manner of pleasure from the act. Now he wants to continue to do it, not knowing that he is devaluing his masculinity for the sake of pleasure every single solitary time that he allows her to do this to him, and that she will never see him as the man that he believes himself to be. She will never view him that way. But he don't realize that because he a fool. Because ain't that much pleasure in the world. I'm going to look at you funny like as a woman, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? What type of dude do you take me for? My homeboy said when he came home from prison, this old lady did him like that. And he was like, nigga, and she was like, oh, I just had to see. She wanted to see how he had been involved in that type of activity because in her mind, she believed if he would have allowed her to do that to him, that he was into that. Because I told you, like I said, man, I done had this, man, that made me think I remember both of these stories right now, clear as day, right there in the moment. This was hilarious. And this is almost 20 years ago. Because, nigga, we was in Atlantic Beach and CO Plantation. Nigga, we out there, you know what I'm saying, serving whatever case may be. Man, a white girl came up and she was like, my boyfriend likes for me to stick my thumb in his butt. I'm like, nigga, what? Like, she just volunteered this. We knew the white girl, but she just threw that out there, like, out of nowhere. This is 2001. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? We in our early 20s. And then the other time, the girl smoking dope. She was from Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? And the dude came in there and he was like, man, such and such smoked crack in his Sprite can right in front of me. And she was like, well, did you tell him how you like for me to stick my fingers in your butt? And he just paused and looked. And I'm looking at him like, my nigga, you got to say something. Tell me lying. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. Cuz dropped his head and walked out the door. You know what I'm talking about? And this was in 2004. You know what I'm talking about? So niggas been nasty and freaky like that. Now it's just more acceptable for people to behave this way. You know what I'm saying? And people only behave this way because of their desire for pleasure. And that's it. See, brothers, I would say nasty demons. I won't go as far and call them a demon, but I could understand why you would. But it's more pleasure. People, as the text say, people are more pleasers of themselves than pleasers of Elohim. So people are going to go after what makes them feel good. You know what I'm saying? And if they believe something makes them feel good and they derive the pleasure from it, they will continue to partake. That's why people continually partake in the sins that they partake in, because they derive pleasure from them. You know what I'm saying? That's why as a man, you can never be, I told you this before, you can never be a pleasure seeker. You have to be a seeker to please Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're a man and you're a pleasure seeker, then you're going to always be ruled by your flesh, by your emotions and your pleasures, and you will always be easily controlled and manipulated by whomever is aware of what pleases you. You know what I'm talking about? See, you should be pleased with your woman because she is pleased to satisfy you in the avenues that you want her to satisfy you. But your satisfaction should never come from perversion. A lot of people get satisfaction from perversion. And that's just completely unfortunate. That's just completely unfortunate. But let's go ahead and cut this short for now. We could get up the rest on tomorrow, man. I want to say hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I appreciate y'all time to see the man. Bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. And I know it might have sounded like we clowning about this and clowning about that. But in all seriousness, a lot of stuff comes down to people seeking and desiring pleasure. And when you seek after pleasure, it ain't just the place, though. It's the minds of people. You know, the minds of people are just derived on seeking pleasure, because this has been this way from the beginning. People like pleasure. People like doing what feels good. And it's easier to do what feels good than to resist. Because once people tap into pleasure, it's hard to get them to not want to seek pleasure. It's very hard to get people to not seek pleasure because it's pleasurable. All of us have partaken in things that we found pleasurable. And just because if you found it pleasurable doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be something evil per se. You know what I'm talking about? But when you find something pleasurable, you like to participate. And you can, like I said, you could find pleasure in lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? You could find pleasure in reading books, pleasure in running. You could find pleasure in knitting. And if you find pleasure in it, that's what I see. You find pleasure in plants. You like plants. You know what I'm saying? And guess what you do? You buy what? I buy more plants. You know what I'm saying? I take pleasure in fragrance. I buy fragrance. That doesn't, me taking pleasure in that, it's not an evil thing. But when what you take pleasure in can cause you to go against Yahuwah, that's when you have to realize, okay, maybe I need to reassess myself. Is this something that I really need to be involved with? And then you have to realize, you know what? It's not. And like I said, all jokes aside, and I wasn't really being funny with a lot of that stuff or what she was talking about, but that's how a lot of men get into that. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of men get and women get into talking about, you know, women being with women because you think that's pleasurable. That's something that I ain't never found enticing and exciting to see two women participating in homoerotic or lesbian activity. That ain't never do nothing for me before. Word, like, nigga, that's why does that, why two women, that's why I respect Charleston White for that. Why does two women excite you but two men disgust you? You a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? You should be just as disgusted with two women touching on one another and kissing on one another than two men doing it. But guess what? I like girls who like girls. You're a perverse and corrupt individual. That's what you are. You know what I'm talking about? And you think it's supposed to be cool, like that's some fly stuff for two women to commit an abomination. That's how niggas feel, like that's some fly stuff. They eating each other's vagina. Nigga, that's disgusting. You know what I'm talking about? And you derive pleasure from that, nigga, you a weirdo. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up, you nigga, there's something wrong with you. No different than something wrong with a bunch of people sitting in a doggone dudes in a room, butt booty naked, having sex with the same woman. All you niggas in here naked with this woman. You niggas weird, nigga. That ain't no fly jump to be doing, to be naked in a room with another dude. Man, look here, man. I've had the misfortune of being naked with other men in prison. I didn't care for that. Have a whole bunch of men in a room butt naked together. You got to get in the shower with other niggas, man. You try to time niggas out so you can be in there by yourself. Here come this nigga. And this nigga like the gun to guard. You know what I'm talking about? Now you got to get out of the shower because he finna touch himself. Yeah, this is real life stuff, man. You don't want to live like that. But hallelujah for Yahushua, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I bless y'all, the house of Elohim, in the name of Yahushua. You who are willing, man, we'll pick it up on tomorrow, make it do what it do. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. You who are willing till that time. Oh, you ain't know that, Michael? They live foul in there, baby.